Hello everyone, this is Fantasy Audiobook. Here you find original fan made audio stories.
Pirate World. Awakening 3 Types of Power at the Start. Part 1. Hey, have you heard? Have you heard? It's said that our school beauty, Zhang Mengshui, has obtained a powerful devil fruit, and apparently, it's an extremely rare Logia-type devil fruit. Hiss. For real. A Logia-type devil fruit. That's the one with the strongest offensive power among the 3 types of devil fruits. As far as I know, as long as they don't die young, anyone in history who obtained a Logia-type devil fruit became at least a 5th-tier ability user. That shows just how powerful Logia-type devil fruits are. I heard Zhang Mengshui got the Ice attribute Ice fruit. A top student is a top student, even her luck is incomparable to ours. Zhang Mengshui already had great grades. I heard her physical techniques broke through to the 2nd tier last year. Now that she has the Ice fruit, it's like giving wings to a tiger. Sigh, there's no use being jealous. I heard she's already been recommended for admission to Imperial Capital University. Inside Class 3 of the 3rd year at Gucheng No. 1 High School in Ancient City. A group of 3rd year students in school uniforms were taking advantage of their break time to chatter away about the latest gossip. Also, I heard Zhao Lei from the next class also got a devil fruit. It seems to be a Paramesha type, and I heard he's quite strong. What? He got a devil fruit too. What kind of Paramesha type is it? I heard it's the stone fruit. Supposedly, his father spent millions to hire professionals to identify the fruit just to confirm its ability. It's simply inhumane wealth. The students were all talking at once, with almost everyone in the class participating in the discussion. Except for Mo Yu, who sat by the window with his chin in his hand, lost in thought. While everyone else huddled together to talk, he seemed completely out of place. Looking at the group of laughing students, Mo Yu was currently bewildered. What the hell is all this? What kind of nonsense are they talking about? I know about devil fruits, and I know about the ice fruit, but who the hell is Zhang Mengshui? Is there such a character in Pirate King? Besides, the college entrance examination is only a month away. Instead of studying and doing practice problems, these people are actually discussing Pirate King here. And talking such nonsense. Aren't they afraid of being caught by the homeroom teacher? Seriously, have they all gone crazy? On that note, where is this? Who are you people? Why don't I recognize a single person? Mo Yu was dazed for a good while before finally realizing he had transmigrated. Transmigrated into a world similar to Pirate King. As for how he transmigrated, that wasn't important. What was important was that he was a loyal fan of Pirate King. He knew the names and abilities of all the devil fruits. Buzz buzz. A sharp pain shot through his head as a massive flood of memories poured into Mo Yu's brain, and through this, he came to understand this world. This was a world without Pirate King, yet it had devil fruits. However, unlike in Pirate King, the devil fruits here were not incarnations of the sea devil. All devil fruits came from a place called the Demon Plain. It was said that 1,000 years ago, the Demon Plain suddenly merged with the Blue Planet. Under the influence of the Demon Plain, plants on the Blue Planet mutated, with a certain chance of producing strangely shaped fruits. Because they were influenced by the Demon Plain, and could grant humans powerful superpowers upon consumption, they were called devil fruits, meaning, fruits from the Demon Plain. Just like in the setting of Pirate King, people in this world could only eat one devil fruit, otherwise, their bodies would explode and they would die. Furthermore, they would have an adverse reaction to seawater. Although they wouldn't lose all their strength, their power would decrease significantly. However, unlike the original Pirate King, users with the exact same fruit ability often appeared in this world. It truly was Theshame ability, and not just Aasimilar ability. Moreover, the hockey setting from the original Pirate King did not exist in this world, which meant that Logia devil fruit users were basically invincible here. The reason he said, basically, invincible was because there were also many various types of magical monsters in this world. The reason the Demon Plain was called the Demon Plain was because it contained countless magical monsters. With the merging with the Blue Planet, monsters from that plane also came to the Blue Planet and began a massive invasion of human cities. The only ones who could fight against them were the devil fruit users. Buzz buzz. Another wave of sharp pain came. Mo Yu clutched his throbbing head again, wondering what was happening now. However, soon after, an ethereal mechanical female voice echoed in his mind. Ding. Hockey system activating. Ding. Hockey system activated successfully. Along with the notification sound, a transparent light screen suddenly appeared in front of Mo Yu. Hockey system. Name. Mo Yu. Strength. 5. Constitution. 20. Abilities. Observation Hockey Tier 1. 0-100s Armament Hockey Tier 1. 0-100s Haoshoku Tier 1. 0-100s Devil Fruit Identification Technique. Physical Techniques. Shave Beginner. 0-100s Iron Body Beginner. 0-100s Kami Eat Beginner. 0-100s Tempest Kick Beginner. 0-100s Moonwalk Beginner. 0-100s Finger Pistol Beginner. 0-100s Swordsmanship Beginner. 0-100s. Physical Technique Cultivation Levels. Beginner, Small Success, Proficient, Mastery, Master, Grandmaster, Transcendent, Saint, Legend, Myth. Holy crap. It's a system. I knew it. How could a transmigrator not have a cheat? Looking at the transparent screen before him, Mo Yu was ecstatic. He couldn't help but roar in his heart, a smile spreading across his face. After a long time, Mo Yu forced himself to calm down. Suppressing his excitement, he asked while breathing heavily. System, what functions do you have? As soon as Mo Yu finished speaking, a cold mechanical notification sounded in his mind. The hockey system, as the name suggests, allows the host to possess the three-color hockey abilities from Pirate King. At the same time, it grants the host the 6 powers and Great Swordsman-level swordsmanship. The host can improve their strength through continuous combat. The hockey system can give me the three-color hockey from the world of Pirate King. Hehe, not bad. And in this world without hockey, only I possess hockey. As a fan of the series, Mo Yu naturally knew what possessing hockey meant. Simply put, it meant power. Those with hockey could fight Devil Fruit users. Especially by learning armament hockey, one could contend with Logia Devil Fruit users. As for Haoshoku, it could only be awakened by those with Emperor qualities. It was said to be a hockey that only one in millions could awaken. And now, Mo Yu had awakened all three-color hockey. Not only that, Mo Yu also obtained the Devil Fruit Identification Technique. In this world, there was no such thing as a Devil Fruit Encyclopedia, and every fruit looked different. Even fruits with the same ability looked different from one another. Therefore, if one wanted to know a fruit's ability beforehand, they had to hire professional technicians for identification. Yet even those technicians still failed sometimes. However, with the Devil Fruit Identification Technique, Mo Yu didn't have to worry. He could see a fruit's ability at a single glance. In this world, fruit appraiser was a very lucrative profession. Thinking about the fame and fortune he was about to acquire, Mo Yu started giggling foolishly again. Hey, Mo Yu, what's wrong with you? What are you giggling about? Huh. Just as Mo Yu was smirking foolishly, a girl's voice, as beautiful as celestial music, suddenly came from beside him. Mo Yu turned his head and looked at the person next to him. With such a pleasant voice, she must be a great beauty, right? However, Mo Yu was wrong. The girl in front of him wasn't beautiful, or rather, a girl who was originally very beautiful now had a slight flaw. The girl before him was indeed very pretty, but there was a scar on her left cheek. If not for this scar, she would definitely be a school beauty level knockout. No, it's nothing, Xin Yan. The girl's full name was Luo Xinyan, and she was Mo Yu's desk mate. Because of a car accident when she was a child, she ended up with this scar. According to his memories, Mo Yu knew that Luo Xinyan was a very positive and optimistic girl. Even though her left face was disfigured, she still didn't take it to heart. The scar on her left cheek could clearly be covered with bangs, yet she was determined to show her true self in front of everyone. Moreover, Luo Xinyan had a great personality. As Mo Yu's desk mate, she often looked after him in his studies. It couldn't be helped, who told Mo Yu to be a through-and-through academic slacker. The two were close to being more than friends but less than lovers. In short, they were very good friends. Hehe, as long as you're okay. Seeing you smirking like that, I thought you'd gone crazy, Luo Xinyan laughed. Listen to that, is that any way to talk to a person? But even though Luo Xinyan said that, Mo Yu wasn't angry. He knew it was just a joke on her part. By the way, you haven't eaten breakfast yet, have you? Mo Yu lowered his head in embarrassment. Like most transmigrators, Mo Yu's parents were both dead, his family was poor, and he couldn't even afford breakfast every day. And at times like this, Luo Xinyan would bring breakfast for Mo Yu. I knew it. Here, I bought this for you, eat up. As she spoke, Luo Xinyan smilingly handed over a piece of bread, and Mo Yu didn't stand on ceremony. Even if he was a transmigrator, he was truly hungry from not eating breakfast. Bang! Bang! Just as Mo Yu was eating breakfast, the front door of Class 3 was suddenly kicked open. Then, a group of delinquent youths with dyed hair walked in. Luo Xinyan's expression changed the moment she saw them. The lead youth with yellow hair went straight to Luo Xinyan and shouted. Hey, you brat. Where's this month's protection money? Why hasn't it arrived yet? I really don't have any more money. Luo Xinyan said with a dejected face. Through his memories, Mo Yu also knew the identity of this yellow-haired youth. His name was Zhao Kai, a delinquent in the school who often took his lackeys around to collect protection money from weaker students. Because he was the young master of the ancient city's Zhao family, and he himself was a devil fruit user, he ran rampant in the school. Even the teachers didn't dare provoke him, and the students were quite afraid of him. He was the school's recognized god of plague. Luo Xinyan was one of the people he extorted. Because of the scar on her face, she was often isolated by her classmates, and Zhao Kai targeted this to threaten her into paying protection money. Luo Xinyan had a somewhat timid personality and wasn't a devil fruit user herself, so she could only obediently hand over the money she had saved. What? No money? He, then you should know the consequences of not paying protection money, right? Zhao Kai gave a strange laugh, and then his hands actually transformed into two large green scythes, looking just like the arms of a mantis. At this moment, Mo Yu also remembered Zhao Kai's fruit ability. Zone type, bug fruit, common species, mantis form. The mantis fruit never appeared in the original Pirate King series. Clearly, this was a devil fruit unique to this world. Furthermore, under Zhao Kai's development, it had already reached the peak of a first-tier ability user. He was about to break through to become a second-tier ability user. Seeing the sinister smile on Zhao Kai's face, Luo Xinyan couldn't help but take a step back in terror, accidentally bumping into Mo Yu. Since your left face already has a scar, I don't mind carving one on your right face too. Ah, no. Luo Xinyan cried out. Although her left face already had a scar, she didn't want another one on her right face, that would make her even uglier. That's not up to you. Since you won't pay the protection money, you'll have to pay a price. As he spoke, Zhao Kai raised the scythes on his arms with a sinister grin and slashed hard toward Luo Xinyan's face. Watch out. At that moment, Mo Yu cried out in alarm, shoved Luo Xinyan aside, and then ducked down himself. Swish. A flash of a blade passed, and the glass on the window shattered into pieces with a clatter. Seeing this, Luo Xinyan was frightened out of her wits, thinking that if that slash had landed on her, she would have been cut in half just like the glass. Thankfully, Mo Yu saved her. Thinking of Mo Yu, Luo Xinyan felt a wave of worry in her heart. Mo Yu had ruined Zhao Kai's plans, and with Zhao Kai's vengeful personality, he would definitely not let Mo Yu off. That just now was. Not only was Luo Xinyan surprised, but Mo Yu himself was also very surprised. Just now, he had only instinctively wanted to save Luo Xinyan, and as a result, he saw the scene of Luo Xinyan being cut in half. Therefore, he quickly pushed her to the side, which allowed her to escape the disaster. But how exactly did Mo Yu do it? Is it observation hockey? Mo Yu muttered in a low voice, thinking that this was the only possibility. Observation hockey allows one to strongly sense the presence and aura of others. Once this power is enhanced, one can anticipate the opponent's next move in advance. When observation hockey is trained to the extreme, one can even briefly predict the future. Just now, it was very likely that Mo Yu had unintentionally used observation hockey, which was how he saved Luo Xinyan. Thinking that he possessed hockey, Mo Yu felt a surge of excitement in his heart. Humph. Kid, do you want to play the hero saving the beauty? Seeing that Mo Yu had actually saved Luo Xinyan, Zhao Kai's face instantly darkened. So what if I do? Mo Yu said coldly. Over the past 3 years, Luo Xinyan had helped him a lot and often brought him breakfast. As the saying goes, a drop of water given in need shall be returned with a bursting spring. Before, he didn't have the ability, but now that Mo Yu possessed hockey, he couldn't just stand by and watch Luo Xinyan be bullied. Moreover, he also wanted to know just how strong he was after awakening the hockey system. Mo Yu. Luo Xinyan called out worriedly. Hearing that Mo Yu wanted to save her, Luo Xinyan was happy, but she was also worried. After all, Zhao Kai was a peak first-tier devil fruit user, while Mo Yu, as far as she knew, had never eaten any devil fruit. It's over, Mo Yu is dead meat. Yeah, he's too impulsive. Why offend Zhao Kai? Doesn't he see that even the ability users in our class aren't willing to offend Zhao Kai? Is it really just for Luo Xinyan to risk his life just for an ugly woman? The people around were all students of Class 3, Mo Yu and Luo Xinyan's classmates. Among them were many devil fruit users, but none of them stepped forward to help Mo Yu, instead, they watched him coldly. The reason was simple. They didn't dare offend Zhao Kai, or rather, they didn't dare offend the Zhao family behind him. Good, good, good. Kid, you truly have commendable courage, but it's only commendable courage because you're going to die here today. As he spoke, Zhao Kai raised his scythe arms and slashed hard at Mo Yu, as if he wanted to cut him into pieces. Mo Yu, watch out. Luo Xinyan cried out. Boom. Before Luo Xinyan could finish her sentence, a loud crash echoed from the side. The scene that followed shocked everyone, including Luo Xinyan. Mo Yu's hands instantly became as pitch black as ink. He first blocked Zhao Kai's attack with his left hand, and then his right hand formed a fist, striking Zhao Kai's face with extreme speed. He actually sent Zhao Kai flying 10 meters away into the wall with a single punch, the surface of the wall shattering from the immense force. What? He knocked Zhao Kai flying with one punch. Since when did Mo Yu become so powerful? Did he also eat a devil fruit? To be able to knock down the peak first tier Zhao Kai with one punch, what kind of devil fruit is it? Could it be an ancient species of the zone type? Seeing Zhao Kai blasted away by Mo Yu's punch, the people around all looked at Mo Yu with eyes full of surprise. Mo Yu. Seeing that Mo Yu was still alive, Luo Xinyan breathed a sigh of relief. Then she looked at Mo Yu with a face full of shock, while also feeling happy in her heart that Mo Yu had obtained the power of a devil fruit. Is this my current power? Looking at his pitch black arm, Mo Yu was ecstatic. The blackness on his arm was exactly armament haki. Armament haki can enhance one's defensive power, acting like invisible armor. It can also be evolved into offensive power, allowing one to contend with devil fruit users and even touch the physical bodies of Logia-type fruit users. In this world today, Mo Yu is the only one who has awakened armament haki. This means that aside from fruit ability counters, Mo Yu is the only person capable of contending with Logia devil fruit users. You, fool. Zhao Kai, who had been punched into the wall by Mo Yu, stood up despite the pain, a hint of killing intent appearing in his eyes as he looked at Mo Yu. If he only wanted to teach Mo Yu a lesson before, now he truly wanted to tear Mo Yu into 10,000 pieces. I'm going to kill you. Zhao Kai roared, and then unexpectedly transformed into a 2-meter-tall large green mantis. After transforming into his mantis form, a pair of membrane-like wings appeared on Zhao Kai's back, allowing him to fly freely in the sky, while his strength and speed also increased several times over. Die. Zhao Kai raised his arms and lunged at Mo Yu with extreme speed, like a streak of light. Is that all? If it's just this much, my speed is faster than yours. Mo Yu sneered. Shave. Mo Yu also lunged at Zhao Kai with extreme speed. At the moment their bodies crossed, Mo Yu used observation haki in advance to predict Zhao Kai's movements, bending down to dodge Zhao Kai's mantis punch, then instantly swung his fist, landing another punch on Zhao Kai's face. Boom. Boom. Accompanied by a loud bang, Zhao Kai was slammed back into the wall, and the cracks on the wall grew even larger. Is this, Shave? Such incredible speed? Mo Yu said in shock. Shave is one of the 6 powers, involving kicking the ground dozens of times in an instant to generate explosive reaction force for high-speed movement, making it look as if one has vanished from the enemy's eyes. So powerful, such fast speed, such strong power, to knock him down with one punch even in mantis form. He's practically one-punch man. With such powerful physical fitness, is it really an ancient type zone-type devil fruit? But even if he got a devil fruit, could Mo Yu become this strong in such a short time? He's simply a monster. Amidst the exclamations of the onlookers, Mo Yu walked up to Zhao Kai, who had now reverted to his human form. Well, do you want to try again? Mo Yu said coldly, then grabbed Zhao Kai by the throat. Brother Kai. Brother Kai. Mo Yu, how dare you? Seeing Mo Yu grab Zhao Kai's neck, his lackeys immediately grew restless. If anything happened to Zhao Kai, his followers would also face retaliation from the Zhao family, so they all spoke up and surrounded Mo Yu. Seeing this, Mo Yu smiled, but to Zhao Kai's lackeys, his smile was no different from a devil's. Heh heh. Want to gang up on me? Then let's see if you can withstand my Conqueror's Haki. At that moment, Mo Yu unleashed the 3rd type of Haki, Conqueror's Haki. This is a Haki that only those with Emperor's disposition can awaken. A mental shockwave instantly swept out in all directions. Those hit by the shockwave rolled their eyes back and were instantly knocked unconscious by the fright, including Zhao Kai in Mo Yu's hand. This world mainly focuses on developing devil fruit abilities and practicing physical techniques, with no mental training at all. Therefore, mental strength is generally weak and cannot withstand Mo Yu's Conqueror's Haki. Furthermore, Zhao Kai's followers were just a bunch of playboys who spent their time eating, drinking, and bullying the weak while fearing death. How could the will of such people be strong? One after another, thudding sounds were heard as they all rolled their eyes and collapsed. Only Zhao Kai remained standing because Mo Yu was holding him by the neck. Seeing that Zhao Kai had also been knocked out by the pressure, Mo Yu let him go. After all, he didn't want to completely offend the Zhao family yet. Even if he had the strength to rival a second-tier ability user, he was no match for the Zhao family. He urgently needed to increase his strength now. This is. Just as Zhao Kai fainted, an apple suddenly rolled out of his pocket. The apple was covered in spiral patterns. Without a doubt, it was a devil fruit. A devil fruit. Let's see what ability it has. Seeing the devil fruit, Mo Yu immediately picked it up. However, the moment he touched it. Ding! The host has just completed his first battle, gaining a deeper understanding of the three-color hockey and shave. Proficiency in three-color hockey and shave +5, strength +2, constitution +5. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the zone-type ox-ox fruit. Zone-type ox-ox fruit common species bison form. Upon consumption, one gains the constitution and strength of a bison. Would the host like to absorb it and convert it into hockey? Absorb. Shouldn't it be consumed? By the way, system, can you actually absorb devil fruits? Mo Yu asked in confusion, and the ethereal voice of the system echoed in his mind once more. Correct. The power of the devil fruit will be automatically converted into demon energy by the system, which will then be used to help the host enhance hockey, giving the hockey the characteristics of the fruit. For example, if the host absorbs the Mara Mara no Mi, the host's hockey will possess the fire attribute. Furthermore, there is no limit to the number of devil fruits that can be absorbed. This means the host can absorb countless devil fruits and will not be weakened by seawater. Hockey can possess devil fruit abilities. Isn't that just like the nature transformation and shape transformation of chakra? Hearing the system's words, Mo Yu couldn't help but say in ecstasy. If he really absorbed the Mara Mara no Mi, his hockey would have the fire attribute. Wouldn't that be similar to chakra's nature transformation? Moreover, there was no limit to the number of devil fruits absorbed through the system. This way, Mo Yu could absorb devil fruits without restriction. Wasn't that much better than only being able to eat one? Absorb. Mo Yu chose to absorb it without hesitation, and the system's voice rang out again. Ding! Absorbing the ox-ox fruit. Ding! Ox-ox fruit absorption complete. Host strength +50, constitution +100, obtained 1000 points of demon energy. Sure enough, after the system notification sounded, Mo Yu's status panel changed once again. Hockey system. Name. Mo Yu. Strength. 57. Constitution. 125. Abilities. Observation Hockey Tier 1. 5 100ths Armament Hockey Tier 1. 5 100ths Conquerors Hockey Tier 1. 5 100ths Devil Fruit Identification Technique. Physical Techniques. Shave Entry. 5 100ths Iron Body Entry. 0 100ths Kami E Entry. 0 100ths Tempest Kick Entry. 0 100ths Moonwalk Entry. 0 100ths Finger Pistol Entry. 0 100ths Swordsmanship Entry. 0 100ths Demon Energy. 1000 every 10 points of demon energy can increase proficiency by 1 point. As expected, a demon energy column was added to the bottom of the light screen. Upgrade Armament Hockey. Mo Yu chose Armament Hockey without hesitation. After all, the stronger the Armament Hockey, the stronger his attack and defense would be. Ding! The host has consumed 1000 points of demon energy. The host's Armament Hockey has been upgraded to Tier 2. As soon as the system's voice fell, Mo Yu felt a powerful force constantly gushing out from within his body. Mo Yu believed that against trash like Zhao Kai, he could now definitely make him kneel with just one punch. No longer focusing on the light screen, Mo Yu looked at the ox-ox fruit in his hand. At this moment, although the ox-ox fruit still retained the shape of a devil fruit, it was no different from an ordinary apple. Anyone could eat it. All the students were staring at Mo Yu. Those who were already devil fruit users watched him with a flicker of wariness in their eyes. They were preparing for the college entrance examination, and they hadn't expected a dark horse like Mo Yu to suddenly charge out just 1 month before the exam. The strength Mo Yu had just displayed was definitely not weaker than a second-tier ability user, and he might even be a match for a third-tier ability user. In this world, people who possess a devil fruit are known as ability users or awakeners. Those from the 1st to 5th rank are ability users, while those from the 6th to 10th rank are awakeners. These students were afraid that Mo Yu would eliminate them during the college entrance examination, which was why they were wary of him. As for the students who were not devil fruit users, they were staring at the ox-ox fruit in Mo Yu's hand. In this world, devil fruits are hyped to astronomical prices. Any random devil fruit can sell for hundreds of thousands or even millions. Furthermore, because there is no reliable devil fruit identification technology, situations where someone spends tens of millions only to buy a common zone-type devil fruit occur frequently. Despite this, it doesn't affect the popularity of devil fruits. After all, it's an absolute fact that eating a devil fruit grants powerful strength. If one is lucky enough to eat a powerful fruit, they could even ascend to the heavens in a single step. Therefore, the students who weren't ability users all looked at the ox fruit in Mo Yu's hand with greedy eyes. They even wanted to rush up and claim the fruit for themselves, but they had the desire without the courage. After all, Mo Yu's strength was right there, they couldn't withstand a single punch from him. However, even if they were beaten to death, they wouldn't know that the fruit in Mo Yu's hand was now no different from an ordinary apple. Hee, Mo Yu, thanks for saving me just now, otherwise I would have been done for. Luo Xinyan smiled. Looking at the ox fruit in Mo Yu's hand, it would be a lie to say Luo Xinyan wasn't tempted. She was disfigured, now, only by possessing great strength could she shut the mouths of those who looked down on her and mocked her ugliness. However, Luo Xinyan also knew that it wasn't something she could possess, so she gave up the idea of asking Mo Yu for the fruit. It's fine, after all, we're friends. You used to help me often, and now it's my turn to repay you. Mo Yu replied with a smile. Now that he had the hockey system, it brought him not only strength but also the confidence to aim for the pinnacle of the world. Afterward, Mo Yu put the ox fruit, which had turned into a regular apple, into his pocket. He had naturally noticed those greedy gazes and knew people had already started targeting him. After all, an innocent man can get into trouble just for possessing a treasure. But now, he wasn't worried about being targeted by others. Speaking of which, Mo Yu, you're so unfair. You ate a devil fruit and didn't even tell me. You had me worried to death just now. Hee, it's my honor to be worried over by a beautiful girl like you. You, stop it, I'm not some beauty. Hearing Mo Yu praise her beauty, Luo Xinyan's face instantly turned bright red, like a ripe apple. What girl doesn't like being complimented on her looks? And ever since a scar appeared on her left cheek when she was a child, no one had praised her beauty for over 10 years. Hee, if you ignore that scar, you're still very good looking, not worse than our school beauty. Mo Yu was telling the truth. Without that scar, Luo Xinyan would definitely be a great beauty. Right, don't change the subject. You haven't told me yet, when did you get a devil fruit? What is the devil fruit ability? To be able to send Zhao Kai flying with one punch, what kind of fruit is it exactly? At this point, Luo Xinyan brought the topic back to Mo Yu's strength. She naturally didn't know that Mo Yu had obtained the hockey system, she only thought he had acquired a powerful devil fruit. Hearing Luo Xinyan's words, others crowded around as well, asking one after another. Yeah, Mo Yu, tell us, what devil fruit did you get? Such a powerful devil fruit ability, to be able to punch away Zhao Kai, who is at the peak of the first tier. Is it a zone type or a paramesha type devil fruit? Hearing everyone's questions, it was naturally impossible for Mo Yu to tell them about the hockey system, so he had already prepared an excuse. Hee, I accidentally got a devil fruit yesterday. I call it the paramesha type hockey fruit. I don't know exactly what abilities it has yet. For now, I only know that the hockey fruit can significantly improve my physical fitness, and that's it. Mo Yu smiled. Since they thought he had obtained a devil fruit, he would follow that line of thought and make one up. So that's how it is. Mo Yu, you're so lucky. To be able to obtain such a powerful devil fruit. With this, our class has another devil fruit user. Hearing Mo Yu say this, the others also congratulated him. Their words carried a hint of trying to curry favor, mainly aiming for Mo Yu's protection and that ox fruit he had tucked in his pocket. What's going on? Why is the classroom wall shattered? And student Zhao Kai is knocked out. Who did this? At this moment, Mo Yu's homeroom teacher walked in from outside. Seeing Zhao Kai knocked unconscious, he was also startled. Mo Yu's homeroom teacher was named Chen Liang. He had received plenty of tributes from Zhao Kai on regular days. Not just him, but almost all the teachers had taken bribes from the Zhao family. Consequently, even though they knew Zhao Kai and his group were tyrannical in school, these teachers turned a blind eye. Moreover, they were as timid as mice and didn't dare offend the Zhao family. Seeing Zhao Kai unconscious on the ground and injured, Chen Liang felt a surge of panic, fearing that if anything happened to Zhao Kai, he would face retaliation from the Zhao family. Therefore, he now had to quickly find the culprit to give the Zhao family an explanation. Speak up. Who did this? Don't force me to check the surveillance footage, it'll be too late then. Chen Liang roared in rage. Hearing Chen Liang's voice, everyone remained silent. Chen Liang himself was a devil fruit user, and a second-tier ability user at that, more than a level stronger than Zhao Kai. So the students were quite afraid of him. No one's admitting it, right? You really want me to check the surveillance, huh? I did it. At this point, Mo Yu raised his hand and confessed openly. In any case, Chen Liang would find out it was him by checking the cameras, so he might as well admit it boldly. He wanted to see what Chen Liang could do to him today. Mo Yu, do you take me for a fool? You're just an ordinary person, how could you possibly send Zhao Kai flying? If you're going to take the fall for someone else, use your brain. Chen Liang looked at Mo Yu with disdain. He knew Mo Yu wasn't a devil fruit user, so he didn't take him seriously at all. However, today's Mo Yu was no longer the Mo Yu of yesterday. It really was me. I sent Zhao Kai flying with one punch. Mo Yu spoke again, while simultaneously releasing his conqueror's haki. A mental shockwave several times stronger than before surged toward Chen Liang. Earlier, Mo Yu had divided his conqueror's haki into multiple parts to intimidate Zhao Kai's lackeys, but now he was focusing it solely on Chen Liang. Naturally, the power of the mental shock was far greater. You. Chen Liang looked at Mo Yu with a terrified expression, his entire back drenched. Under this extremely powerful mental shock, even as a second-tier ability user, Chen Liang was scared into a cold sweat, his back completely soaked. Do you believe me now, teacher? I'm the one who sent Zhao Kai flying. As he spoke, Mo Yu also retracted his Haoshoku. Only after the sensation of being watched by a demon vanished did Chen Liang feel slightly better, sitting on the ground and gasping for air. He now believed in Mo Yu's strength. To exert such pressure, it wasn't impossible that he had scared Zhao Kai and the others unconscious. As for how Mo Yu obtained such power, Chen Liang's thoughts were the same as everyone else's. Mo Yu must have eaten a powerful devil fruit. HMPH, tell me, why did you bully classmate Zhao Kai? Chen Liang asked coldly, not giving Mo Yu a friendly face just because of the strength he had displayed. What do you mean I bullied him? It was clearly him looking for trouble, trying to bully Xinyan. I just happened to knock him out. Teacher Chen, this kind of scum acts like a tyrant in our school every day, yet you don't report it to the higher-ups. Mo Yu shrugged and spoke with complete indifference. Chen Liang was left speechless by Mo Yu's retort. They barely managed to avoid the Zhao family as it was, so how would they dare to offend them? Chen Liang wanted to teach Mo Yu a lesson to give the Zhao family an explanation, but remembering the sensation of being stared at by the abyss just now, his heart skipped a beat. Mo Yu had already beaten Zhao Kai and snatched one of his devil fruits, he had already offended the Zhao family. Since that was the case, he might as well let the Zhao family deal with him themselves, there was no need for him to wade into these muddy waters. Thinking of this, Chen Liang said no more. He simply called the infirmary staff to carry Zhao Kai and his lackeys away, then began the class. Mo Yu, you have to be careful. Most of the teachers in the school have taken bribes from the Zhao family, which is why Zhao Kai and his group dare to run rampant right under their noses. The teachers won't intervene. Moreover, Zhao Kai is extremely vindictive. As long as he's alive, he'll definitely come back. I suspect they might tamper with tomorrow's practical class. Luo Xinyan warned in a low voice, and hearing her warning, Mo Yu's heart sank slightly. He knew about the practical class Luo Xinyan mentioned. The so-called practical class was for students who had become devil fruit users to go to the monster forest for actual combat. The monster forest, as the name suggested, was home to many monsters. 1,000 years ago, monsters from the demon plane launched a massive invasion of Blue Star. Many human cities fell, and their populations became food for the monsters. Because there were no people, plants grew wild, forming dense forests that became the territory of monsters. To cultivate the students' combat abilities, schools would regularly hold practical classes, taking students to the outskirts of the monster forest to fight monsters. Of course, only students who had become devil fruit users participated in the practical class. Non-ability users didn't need to go, if they did, they would only become monster fodder. Furthermore, for students who had become devil fruit users, the practical class was a mandatory course. Previously, Mo Yu wasn't an ability user and could only stay in school. Now, in everyone's eyes, he was already a hockey fruit user, so he had to participate in the practical class. Don't worry, that Zhao Kai is no match for me. Mo Yu said confidently. First stage armament hockey had almost killed Zhao Kai. Now that his armament hockey had risen to the second stage, Zhao Kai was even less of a match for him. Mo Yu, I know you're strong, but the scary one isn't Zhao Kai, it's the Zhao family behind him. Zhao Kai is the young master of the Zhao family. Since you beat him like that, the Zhao family won't just sit by and do nothing. Also, You know Zhao Lei from the class next door, right? He's Zhao Kai's older brother. Since you beat Zhao Kai, Zhao Lei will definitely look for trouble with you tomorrow, so that's why I'm telling you to be careful. Luo Xinyan spoke with a solemn face, her eyes full of worry that something might happen to Mo Yu. It's okay, I'm not a fool. If I can't beat Zhao Lei, I'll run. Don't worry. Mo Yu smiled, and hearing this, Luo Xinyan nodded. The day's classes passed quickly, and Mo Yu prepared for tomorrow's practical class. First, he needed a weapon. Although he had hockey, he didn't want to engage in hand-to-hand combat with those monsters. Moreover, when watching the One Piece anime, Mo Yu loved Zoro and Hawkeye's swordsmanship. He still remembered the scene where Hawkeye cut a meteorite into pieces with a single strike. Should I just go buy a sword? Since he had the beginner swordsmanship ability, he naturally had to train his swordsmanship, otherwise, wouldn't this ability be wasted? Thinking of this, Mo Yu couldn't help but walk into a weapon shop. Hee, customer, what would you like to buy? Not to brag, but the swords here are extremely sharp, cutting through iron like mud. Even the skin of a second-tier monster can be sliced through. The weapon shop had always been deserted with few visitors, and the shop owner was worried about it. Seeing Mo Yu walk in, he immediately beamed and approached, introducing his wares with a grin. Seeing the owner approach, Mo Yu also smiled and said, I want to buy a longsword. I want to see if you have any high-quality goods here. Buying a sword. Easy, easy. This shop has everything. Why don't you take a look at these fine swords? Hearing that Mo Yu came to buy a sword, the smile on the owner's face deepened as he led Mo Yu to a cabinet. The cabinet was lined with top-quality swords, at least 100 of them. Even just sitting there, one could feel their sharpness as a chilling sword intent brushed against the face. Seeing these swords of various shapes, Mo Yu's eyes instantly widened. He wasn't just deterred by the sharpness of these 100 swords, but also frightened by their prices. These swords didn't just look good, their prices were outrageously high, with none below 100,000. No wonder they were ignored with such high prices. If one really had that much money, with a bit of luck, they might even be able to trade for a devil fruit. Oh, how much is this sword? At this moment, Mo Yu spotted a longsword placed in a corner by the owner and suddenly became interested. That sword could only be described with one word: black. It was pitch black like ink, as if it were coated in armament hockey. Aside from being black, other parts of this sword were very ordinary, no different from a common longsword. However, Mo Yu just really liked this sword, and his eyes remained fixed on it. This sword is not for sale. Seeing Mo Yu take an interest in that pitch black longsword, the owner's expression became unnatural. Not for sale. Why? Are you afraid I can't afford it? Hearing the owner's words, Mo Yu looked at him in confusion. No, it's because it's an ominous sword. The owner sighed and shook his head at Mo Yu. An ominous sword. That's right. This sword is named Ink Plum. It's a demonic sword forged 100% from demon steel. Demon steel. Mo Yu knew a bit about demon steel. Demon steel was a metallic substance extracted from the bodies of monsters. It was a metal that didn't exist on Blue Star, coming from the demon plane. Because it was harder and more resilient than superalloys, it was called demon steel. Furthermore, demon steel had another very important characteristic: it emitted a special magnetic field. Within the range of the magnetic field, the abilities of devil fruit users would be affected. Especially for Logia devil fruit users, if the magnetic field was too strong, they wouldn't even be able to perform elemental transformation, though it wouldn't harm the user's body. This point was actually quite similar to the sea stone in the original One Piece. Demon steel was exceptionally precious. Even adding a little demon steel to an ordinary weapon could make it sell for an astronomical price, let alone this ink plum forged from 100% demon steel. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say it was priceless. But boss, why do you say ink plum is an ominous sword? If I got this sword, I'd definitely be very happy. Why are you sighing instead? Mo Yu asked in confusion. As long as the owner sold this ink plum, he could definitely get an astronomical price of millions, tens of millions, or even hundreds of millions. In short, he could definitely make a fortune and wouldn't need to stay in this small shop selling swords. Sigh, little brother, there's something you don't know. This is a sword that brings misfortune. Since ink plum was forged, it has a history of 500 years. In these 500 years, ink plum has had a total of 99 owners, and not a single one of those 99 owners met a good end. Their fates were all miserable. Moreover, in these 500 years, ink plum has killed countless people and monsters. The sword is stained with blood, so it carries an evil aura. As he spoke, the owner's face grew increasingly pale, as if he were terrified of this demonic sword. Ah, no way. Why does that sound so mysterious? Mo Yu said, refusing to believe in such superstitions. He was determined to get this sword forged from 100% demon steel. However, the owner sighed and continued. I obtained ink plum a year ago. At that time, I didn't believe in such things either, so I insisted on buying it. As a result, my wife and son passed away one after another, and no one has visited my only small shop for a long time. This is the curse of ink plum. Hee hee, since that's the case, let me help you get rid of the curse. Mo Yu chuckled, then ignored the owner's obstruction and forcibly pulled out ink plum. The moment he grabbed ink plum, Mo Yu suddenly felt a sharp sword intent. Although ink plum looked very ordinary, swords forged from demon steel were very sharp. Even when cutting monsters, they could slice through iron like mud. As for that curse, Mo Yu didn't take it to heart at all. His name was Mo Yu, and the sword was called ink plum. On the first day Mo Yu crossed over, the first sword he took a fancy to was ink plum, and he was its 100th owner. In the words of his past life, this was called fate. Furthermore, Mo Yu, who had awakened the hockey system, felt his luck wouldn't be bad. Even the curse of ink plum shouldn't dream of affecting his luck. Boss, I want this sword. How much do you think is appropriate? Mo Yu returned ink plum to its scabbard and said to the owner with a smile. Sigh. Forget it, forget it. Since you insist on wanting ink plum, little brother, then just take it. Presumably, after ink plum leaves, the business of my small shop will get better. The owner sighed and waved his hand, signaling Mo Yu to take ink plum away, and he didn't want a single cent. Hee hee, then thank you, boss. Mo Yu smiled and thanked the owner, then turned and left the shop. Hee hee, getting a weapon forged from demon steel for free. I really hit the jackpot today. After returning home, Mo Yu couldn't help but lean back on the sofa and draw ink plum from its scabbard. The moment ink plum was unsheathed, a chilling sword intent rushed toward him. Feeling the coldness emanating from ink plum, Mo Yu naturally toyed with it, unable to put it down. His eyes remained fixed on ink plum as if it weren't a sword, but a peerless beauty. He watched it for who knows how long, until night fell. Only then did Mo Yu return ink plum to its sheath and prepare to make dinner. Mo Yu's home wasn't large, just a small house of less than 100 square meters. It was the only inheritance his parents had left him. Mo Yu also worked part-time during his spare hours. The original owner of this body had lived off that meager wage, but starting today, that situation would change completely. Thinking of this, Mo Yu's heart swelled with excitement again. After finishing dinner, he lay down to rest. Early the next morning, Mo Yu brought ink plum to school and saw several buses parked at the school gate. At 7:30 a.m., the teachers began organizing the students who had become devil fruit users to board the buses. Around 7:40 a.m., the drivers started the engines. With a loud rumble, the buses drove out of the school. With that one stomp on the gas pedal, everyone felt as if they had traveled from heaven to hell. One moment it was peaceful, and the next, the landscape was littered with bones and devastation. Just outside the city gates, there were cars crushed by giant beasts, ruined houses, fallen airplanes, and countless corpses. Some were human, others belonged to demonic beasts. Everything seemed to be telling them, humanity is not safe. Quite a few faint-hearted girls were scared to tears, covering their eyes and not daring to look at the bodies. Some even threw up their breakfast. Even the boys fell silent. There was no laughter here, only a deathly silence. However, Mo Yu wasn't frightened. Or rather, he simply closed his eyes, out of sight, out of mind. Mo Yu believed that with the hockey system, he would never become one of those countless corpses. After driving for about half an hour, a dense forest faintly came into view. The forest was massive, one couldn't see the end of it at a glance, and it was impossible to know exactly how many demonic beasts lived inside. The monster forest was divided into the outer perimeter and the inner depths. The demonic beasts in the outer perimeter were all lower-class creatures, the strongest were only third-rank demonic beasts, roughly equivalent to a human third-tier ability user. However, the depths of the monster forest were inhabited by a large number of high-level demonic beasts, with even 6th and 7th rank creatures existing there. It was a forbidden zone for humanity, no entry for the living. During every practical lesson, the school would organize students to conduct combat practice in the outer perimeter of the forest. Generally, no one dared to venture deep into the forest. The buses stopped once they reached the outer perimeter, and the students began to disembark one after another. The outer perimeter was also littered with corpses, even more than on the road, and the air was thick with the stench of decay. Many people started vomiting upon smelling it. Even Mo Yu couldn't help but frown and cover his nose, the smell was truly overpowering. I can't do this. I don't want to stay here, I want to go home. Teacher, let us go back. I don't want to end up like them. Yeah, teacher, please take us back. If I stay here any longer, I'll go crazy. Seeing the corpses covering the ground, many female students participating in their first practical lesson cried and begged the leading teacher to take them back, but the female teacher shook her head and refused. No, this is a lesson you must experience in your life. Everyone, pay attention. The practical lesson starts now and lasts until 4 p.m. Do not wander too far. Especially, do not go into the depths of the monster forest, understood? After the female teacher gave her instructions, most of the students began walking toward the monster forest. Of course, some students stayed where they were, too afraid to move, but the teacher didn't force them. Mo Yu was among the first to walk into the monster forest, immediately releasing his observation haki to sense the surrounding demonic beasts. After walking for about 5 minutes, a rustling sound suddenly came from nearby. Hearing this, Mo Yu instantly became alert. Then, a 2-meter-long green snake crawled out from behind him. That's a first-rank demonic beast, the green leaf snake. Mo Yu turned back to look at the large green snake and exclaimed in surprise. While this world didn't have a devil fruit encyclopedia, it did have a demonic beast encyclopedia, and the snake before him was indeed a first-rank demonic beast, the green leaf snake. The green leaf snake had green skin that looked just like green leaves, making it extremely skilled at camouflage. Furthermore, its venom was highly toxic. If Mo Yu hadn't used his observation haki to sense its presence, he probably would have mistaken it for leaves too, right? Hiss, hiss, hiss. The green leaf snake flicked its tongue at Mo Yu and slowly approached him. Mo Yu unsheathed ink plum in an instant. This would be his first battle using the sword. Hiss. At that moment, the green leaf snake lunged, opening its mouth to reveal 2 sharp fangs as it bit toward Mo Yu's neck. Mo Yu's speed was even faster. Relying on his observation haki, the snake's movements were entirely within his grasp, and he immediately swung his sword at it. However, Mo Yu didn't coat ink plum in haki. He wanted to see just how sharp this demonic sword forged from 100% demon steel really was. Poochie. The moment ink plum's blade touched the green leaf snake, its body was instantly split in 2. A fountain of blood sprayed out as it fell to the ground in 2 pieces. As expected of a weapon forged from demon steel. Even a demonic beast dies upon contact. Ding. Congratulations, you have successfully killed a first-rank demonic beast, the green leaf snake. You have gained 30 points of demon energy. Just then, the system's ethereal notification sounded again. Mo Yu was slightly stunned and immediately asked. System, can I also gain demon energy by slaying demonic beasts? That is correct. The devil fruits of this world all originate from the demon plane, and demonic beasts also come from the demon plane. Naturally, you can obtain demon energy from them. The system will automatically help the host extract demon energy from the corpses of demonic beasts. Really? Mo Yu said excitedly. He had been worried about how to get demon energy in the future without devil fruits, but now he found that hunting demonic beasts could also provide it. He was overjoyed. Since demon energy can be extracted from corpses, system, can you extract demon energy from those demonic beast corpses around here? Mo Yu asked eagerly. If possible, those corpses wouldn't just be bodies, they'd be a pile of treasures. It is possible. However, these demonic beast corpses have been here for a while, so it may not be possible to extract much demon energy. It doesn't matter, extract as much as you can. Understood. Extracting demon energy. Ding. Demon energy extraction complete. A total of 389 points of demon energy have been extracted. 389 points is not a lot, but it is not a little either. Counting the 30 points of demon energy obtained from killing the green leaf snake just now, this makes a total of 419 points of demon energy. Mo Yu used all this demon energy to upgrade his swordsmanship, which amounted to 41 points of proficiency. Mo Yu immediately felt that his swordsmanship had improved further. Hehe, since hunting monsters can grant demon energy, I should kill more. Mo Yu chuckled, then charged into the depths of the forest like a killing machine. He did not spare any monsters along the way. All of them died under his ink plum. Ding dong, congratulations on successfully killing the Tier 1 monster Black Iron Ant, obtaining 20 points of demon energy. Ding dong, congratulations on successfully killing the Tier 1 monster Fire Rabbit, obtaining 39 points of demon energy. Ding dong, congratulations on successfully killing the Tier 1 monster Greenwood Ape, obtaining 78 points of demon energy. Ding dong. Congratulations on successfully killing the Tier 2 monster Green Leaf Snake King, obtaining 293 points of demon energy. In the following half hour, Mo Yu seemed to have gone mad, continuously hunting monsters. In this half hour, countless monsters had died under his ink plum, until Mo Yu felt a bit tired and stopped to rest for a while. At this moment, Mo Yu's clothes were covered in blood. If anyone saw him, they would definitely be startled. However, after this half hour of slaughter, Mo Yu had gained quite a lot, obtaining a total of 2,689 points of demon energy. Mo Yu also discovered a pattern. Hunting Tier 1 monsters could yield 1 to 100 points of demon energy, while hunting Tier 2 monsters could yield 100 to 1,000 points of demon energy. It was precisely because he had killed several Tier 2 monsters just now that Mo Yu was able to obtain so much demon energy. After obtaining 2,689 points of demon energy, Mo Yu distributed them, first upgrading his observation haki and conqueror's haki to Tier 2. After all, three-color haki was Mo Yu's foundation for survival in this world. He would rather not upgrade his physical techniques than fail to upgrade the level of his haki. The remaining demon energy was used to improve his swordsmanship, raising it from the beginner level to the minor accomplishment level. Mo Yu rested for a while, then walked over to a tree. This tree was very tall, probably over 10 meters high. The reason Mo Yu stopped was, firstly, that he was indeed a bit tired, and secondly, because through his observation haki, he had discovered a devil fruit right on this tree. I wonder what kind of devil fruit it is. Mo Yu released his observation haki and immediately detected the location of that devil fruit, then used moonwalk to jump into the sky and walk through the air. Moonwalk is one of the 6 powers, a technique derived from shave, similar to the light body techniques in martial arts novels. By using powerful leg strength to kick the air, one generates strong lift, allowing one to walk in the air as if climbing stairs, though one cannot stay in the air for too long. At this moment, Mo Yu was using moonwalk to reach the tree. He searched with his observation haki and, sure enough, found a fruit resembling a peach with spiral patterns on it. Without a doubt, this was a devil fruit. Mo Yu was quick-eyed and nimble-handed. He plucked the devil fruit in one go and then jumped down to the bottom of the tree. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for obtaining the Paramesha-type scythe fruit. The scythe fruit, after consumption, allows the user to compress air with their hands, creating wind blade slashes like a scythe. The raised wind can easily slice through rocks and can gather a large number of wind blades to form a highly destructive tornado that tears the opponent apart. Oh, it's actually the scythe fruit. This is a fruit with extremely strong offensive power. It will definitely not be weaker than Zhao Kai's mantis fruit. Looking at the scythe fruit in his hand, Mo Yu muttered to himself. Does the host wish to absorb it? After absorption, the host's slashes, finger pistol, and tempest kick will be more powerful. Absorb. Since it could increase his strength, there was no reason for Mo Yu not to absorb it. Received. Absorbing scythe fruit. Ding dong. Scythe fruit absorption complete. Host strength plus 30, armament haki, swordsmanship, finger pistol, and tempest kick proficiency each plus 40, obtained 1200 points of demon energy. After absorbing the devil fruit, Mo Yu felt his strength increase. Furthermore, Mo Yu allocated those 1200 points of demon energy to his finger pistol and tempest kick. Immediately, both finger pistol and tempest kick were upgraded from the beginner level to the minor accomplishment level, and at this moment, his attribute panel also changed. Haki system name. Mo Yu strength. 87 physique. 125 abilities. Observation haki tier 2. 0 1000s. Armament haki tier 2 40 1000. Conqueror's haki tier 2. 0 1000s. Devil fruit identification technique. Physical techniques. Shave beginner. 5 100s. Iron body beginner. 0 100s. Kami eat beginner. 0 100s. Tempest kick minor accomplishment. 0 500s. Moonwalk beginner. 0 100s. Finger pistol minor accomplishment. 0 500s. Swordsmanship minor accomplishment. 0 500s. Demon energy. 98. After the 3-color haki was upgraded to tier 2, the proficiency required for the next upgrade became 1000, which translates to 10,000 points of demon energy. Physical technique upgrades also required 500 proficiency, which meant 5,000 points of demon energy, so the difficulty had increased significantly. However, Mo Yu believed that as long as he kept hunting monsters, his strength would continue to grow stronger. In the following few hours, Mo Yu continued to hunt monsters, and at the same time, the demon energy he obtained became more and more abundant. Hehe, the owner of the weapon shop said that ink plum would bring me misfortune, but now it seems that today is clearly my lucky day. Mo Yu, who was hunting monsters, suddenly stopped and then grinned broadly. There was no other reason than that he had discovered another devil fruit, and this devil fruit gave him a feeling even more powerful than the scythe fruit from before. Thinking of this, Mo Yu had no mind to hunt monsters anymore and dashed toward the large tree where the devil fruit was located. Finally, he arrived at that tree and then saw a banana. The banana also had spiral patterns on it, so without guessing, he knew this was that devil fruit. Hee hee, I'm really lucky today to be able to find 2 devil fruits. After plucking the devil fruit, Moyu said with a loud laugh, and at this moment, the system's notification sound rang out at the right time. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for obtaining the Paramesha-type healing fruit mutant. Mutant. What does this mean? Upon hearing the system's notification, Moyu asked in confusion, could it be that mutant refers to the fruit having undergone some kind of mutation? Just as Moyu was letting his imagination run wild, the system's voice came again. Healing fruit mutant has extremely strong healing power. It can instantly heal any injury on oneself, and at the same time, it can also help others heal, and it can even restore any living organism by reducing the user's lifespan. Due to the fruit's mutation, it can restore any living organism even without consuming lifespan, and it can increase the number of cell divisions, thereby increasing the lifespan of the ability user. The strongest ability is the resurrection ability, which comes at the cost of completely sacrificing one's own life. As long as one possesses a single cell of the deceased, one can completely resurrect them and restore them to their peak combat power. Whoa, the ability of this fruit is too broken, isn't it? After hearing the hockey system's introduction to the healing fruit variant, Moyu was also shocked. It could heal injuries instantly, restore living beings, and even resurrect the dead. There was no such powerful fruit in the original Pirate King. Would the host like to absorb it? Absorb? Wait a minute. Just as Moyu was about to let the hockey system absorb it, he suddenly stopped. The healing fruit variant can restore any injury. Does that mean it can even restore the scars on her face? In that case, why not pack it up and take it back as a gift for Luo Xinyan? Thinking of Luo Xinyan, Moyu decided not to absorb the fruit himself but to give it to Luo Xinyan instead. After all, he had received a lot of help from her over the past 3 years. Moyu had to repay her somehow. Moreover, Luo Xinyan was his female bro. Besides, Moyu didn't want to see a kind girl's life ruined because of disfigurement. Although Moyu could absorb the devil fruit himself and still help Luo Xinyan restore her appearance, he wanted Luo Xinyan to become a true devil fruit user, giving her the power to protect herself in this apocalyptic world. Furthermore, this would be a good way to hide his own abilities. After all, in the eyes of others, Moyu is currently a hockey fruit user. If he also had the ability to heal scars, it would inevitably arouse suspicion. After all, his fabricated hockey fruit could already heal and fight, wouldn't it be far too versatile? So, to hide his true abilities, Moyu thought of giving the healing fruit to Luo Xinyan. Besides, even if he gave the healing fruit to Luo Xinyan, with Luo Xinyan's personality, would she just leave him to die? Given his relationship with Luo Xinyan, she might even offer herself to him after eating the fruit. So, it was a win-win deal. Whether Luo Xinyan ate the healing fruit or Moyu ate it himself, there wasn't much difference. Plus, he might even gain a girlfriend. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Speaking of which, aren't you guys coming out yet? How much longer do you plan to watch? I'm not some celebrity. Is it necessary to keep staring at me? After putting away the mutated healing fruit, the corners of Moyu's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a cold sneer. With his powerful observation haki, Moyu had sensed someone following him from the very beginning. Those people were exactly Zhao Kai and his lackeys, whom he had beaten up yesterday. He just hadn't called them out because he wanted to see what they were up to. However, after seeing him find 2 devil fruits in a row, someone finally couldn't sit still anymore. He, so you've already noticed us. I was wondering why following you all this way was so smooth. It turns out you knew all along. But since you knew I was following you, you still ran to such a remote place. You really are seeking death. Ha ha ha. At this moment, a mantis man walked out from the forest. This mantis man was Zhao Kai. With the mimicry ability of the mantis fruit, Zhao Kai had hidden himself well. Even first stage observation haki hadn't detected his location. It wasn't until Moyu upgraded his observation haki to the second stage that he finally found Zhao Kai. After Zhao Kai walked out, his lackeys no longer hid and came out from behind the trees one after another. Including Zhao Kai, there were 11 people in total. Hey, I'll get straight to the point. What exactly do you want by following me? Is it for this? Saying that, Moyu took out the already absorbed ox fruit from his pocket. Haha, that's right. Originally, we planned to take back that devil fruit and kill you, which is why we followed you. Until I discovered you found 2 devil fruits in a row. I've been watching you. You seem to have the ability to sense devil fruits. This should also be an ability granted to you by that haki fruit, right? After waking up yesterday, Zhao Kai had inquired about Mo Yu's fruit ability, which was the hockey fruit that Mo Yu had made up. However, everyone took it for the truth. The ability to find other devil fruits. If we have this kind of ability, we'll make a fortune. Exactly. You know, a single devil fruit can sell for millions. And even then, it's often unavailable even if you have the money. Hearing Zhao Kai speculate that Mo Yu had the ability to sense devil fruits, the others also looked at Mo Yu with weird grins, making Mo Yu feel a wave of disgust. Zhao Kai smiled and continued, exactly. Such an ability isn't something a poor kid like you should possess. How about this, Mo Yu? As long as you join our Zhao family and help us find devil fruits, our grievances will be wiped clean. After joining the Zhao family, I guarantee you'll live a life of luxury. What do you think? Having deduced that Mo Yu had such an ability, Zhao Kai also extended an olive branch, hoping Mo Yu would join the Zhao family. If Mo Yu really joined the Zhao family, then he, Zhao Kai, would have performed a great service for the family, and the Zhao family might even become famous throughout the world because of it. I'm not interested in your Zhao family. Your Zhao family is just a stepping stone for me to become famous. Mo Yu sneered. With the hockey system, did he still need to care about others' opinions? Was that a joke? If that were the case, he, a transmigrator, would truly be too pathetic. HMPH. Who do you think you are? If it weren't for the fact that you got the hockey fruit, we wouldn't even bother with you. I'll give you one more chance. Join our Zhao family, or else, HMPH, or else what? Mo Yu asked coldly, while his left hand couldn't help but tighten its grip on the ink plum. Mo Yu, what do you think would happen if I spread the word about your ability to sense devil fruits? I bet you'd be locked in a laboratory and sliced up for research like a guinea pig. That wouldn't feel good, ha ha ha. Zhao Kai threatened Mo Yu, laughing loudly. He guessed that Mo Yu would definitely join the Zhao family and submit to him. I think before you worry about whether I'll be sliced up for research, you should worry about whether you can walk out of this forest alive. Mo Yu said coldly, and at that moment, he unsheathed the ink plum. After the ink plum was unsheathed, a wave of sword chi swept toward Zhao Kai and the others. Feeling the sharpness of the ink plum, Zhao Kai was also shocked. What do you mean? Why do you think I ran to such a remote place alone after discovering you were following me? It's because this is your grave. What did you say? Hearing this, Zhao Kai couldn't help but look around. Because he had been following Mo Yu, he hadn't noticed that they had reached the depths of the monster forest. This place was full of monsters above the third stage, and no one ever came here. So if Mo Yu planned to kill them and dump their bodies here, Zhao Kai wouldn't even be able to call for help. As for defeating Mo Yu, that was even more impossible. They had been scared unconscious by Mo Yu's mental attack yesterday. This time would probably be the same. Plus, Mo Yu now had a sharp sword like the ink plum, so it was possible he really could kill them without anyone finding out. I mean literally. This is your grave. I don't like being targeted all the time. As he spoke, a hint of killing intent appeared in Mo Yu's eyes, and he looked at Zhao Kai as if he were a dead man. You dare. If you kill me, my big brother, and my Zhao family will not let you go. Feeling the killing intent in Mo Yu's eyes, Zhao Kai was also startled and began to stutter. This is the perfect place to dump a body. Once I kill you, those monsters will naturally take care of your corpses. If your Zhao family wants to collect your remains, tell them to go find those monsters. Better hurry, or I'm afraid you'll have already turned into monster dung. Die. Saying that, Mo Yu raised the ink plum and swiftly swung his sword. A pitch-black sword chi slash flew toward Zhao Kai and the others. After absorbing the scythe fruit, Mo Yu's slashes were clearly much more powerful. Furthermore, Mo Yu had also wrapped armament hockey around the ink plum this time, which was why the slash was so powerful. Seeing the massive slash coming, Zhao Kai hurriedly flapped his wings and flew up, barely managing to dodge the strike. However, his lackeys weren't so lucky. Under that slash, they were directly sliced in half, dying tragically on the spot. Seeing this, Zhao Kai tried to flee in terror. However, how could Mo Yu let him have his way? Want to run? No way. Saying that, Mo Yu swung his sword once more. Accompanied by a heart-wrenching scream, Zhao Kai died under Mo Yu's sword. HMPH, I forgot to tell you earlier. If your Zhao family dares to come looking for trouble with me, I guarantee they won't be leaving. Looking at Zhao Kai's corpse, which had been slashed in two, Mo Yu said coldly. He then prepared to leave, but suddenly, he remembered something. Right, system, these people are all devil fruit users. Can you extract demon energy from their bodies? Mo Yu called out to the system. Since the system could extract demon energy from the corpses of demonic beasts, could it also extract it from the corpses of devil fruit users? After all, in the original Pirate King series, Blackbeard successfully obtained Whitebeard's Tremor fruit ability. Presumably, he extracted the demon energy of the Tremor fruit from Whitebeard's corpse, right? If Blackbeard could do it, couldn't his system do it as well? Affirmative. However, the extraction must occur within 5 minutes of the devil fruit user's death, otherwise, the demon energy will dissipate completely. The longer the time, the less demon energy will be extracted. Good, then hurry up and extract the demon energy. Hearing the ethereal prompt from the system, Moyu could not contain his joy. A single devil fruit contained at least 1,000 points of demon energy. With 11 devil fruit users here, the extracted demon energy would definitely be no less than 10,000. The only pity was that demon energy could only be extracted within 5 minutes of a user's death. Otherwise, with so many corpses outside, there would surely be a few devil fruit users among them, right? That would be a massive amount of demon energy. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for obtaining 11,657 points of demon energy. Holy crap, I actually obtained this much demon energy. Hearing the system's prompt, Moyu was extremely surprised. Although he knew he would get at least 10,000 points of demon energy, he hadn't expected to receive this much. Moyu first used 4,000 points of demon energy to upgrade his Shave, Moonwalk, Kami-E, and Iron Body to the minor accomplishment level, leaving him with over 7,000 points of demon energy. As for the remaining demon energy, he planned to save it until he had accumulated 10,000 points to upgrade his 3-color hockey level. He believed that it wouldn't be long before he could raise his 3-color hockey to the 3rd rank strength. Alright, there are 2 hours left before the return trip. Since that's the case, I'll continue hunting demonic beasts. I'll strive to raise my armament hockey to the 3rd rank today. Moyu chuckled and then raised the ink plum in his hand. Moyu was now even more comfortable using the ink plum. It was as if the ink plum had been crafted specifically for Moyu. Not only did it grant him powerful strength, but it also brought him luck. Let's go, ink plum. Saying this, Moyu held the ink plum and continued to hunt demonic beasts on the outskirts of the monster forest. Moyu didn't dare to enter the depths of the monster forest because even the weakest beasts there were 3rd-rank demonic beasts, and there were even many 4th-rank and 5th-rank demonic beasts. Moyu currently had at most the strength of a peak 2nd rank, far from being a match for a 4th-rank demonic beast. Naturally, there was no need for him to court death and look for excitement. Roar. However, shortly after Moyu left, a massive tiger followed the drifting scent of blood and arrived before the corpses of Zhao Kai and the others. Then, a pair of blood-red eyes flashed with a crimson light, and saliva dripped continuously from its mouth, as if it had discovered some delicious delicacy. It opened its bloody maw and began to feast. After devouring the corpses of Zhao Kai and the others, the large tiger was clearly still not full. At that moment, the scent of meat drifted from afar, so it ran in the direction the scent was coming from. Hey, aren't we going in too deep? We're almost entering the depths of the monster forest, and there are more and more 2nd-rank demonic beasts here. Captain, I think we should go back, right? At this moment, a 10-person team was slowly approaching the depths of the monster forest. Among the 10, there were both men and women. A timid girl among them, seeing the corpses around them, couldn't help but say fearfully, her voice even trembling. How can we do that? How many demonic cores have we even obtained? These few demonic cores can only be exchanged for 2 bottles of 2nd-rank energy fluid. Hearing the girl's words, the boy who was the captain shook his head and refused, and the others didn't want to give up just like that either. They had just joined forces to take down quite a few 2nd-rank demonic beasts and were currently brimming with confidence. The girl's words were undoubtedly lowering their morale. But, the girl wanted to persuade the captain again, but a girl beside her smiled and comforted her. Don't worry, Li Feifei, it's fine, we're here. With us joining forces, even a peak 2nd-rank demonic beast can be killed. Plus, we agreed to get everyone a bottle of 2nd-rank energy fluid, so we must continue hunting demonic beasts to obtain demonic cores. Are you willing to risk your lives just for demonic cores? This was what Li Feifei thought, but she didn't say it out loud because she was afraid it would affect the friendship between the sisters. The demonic cores they spoke of were actually the same as the beast cores in fantasy novels, they were the essence of a demonic beast. By obtaining demonic cores, one could extract demon energy from them and manufacture energy fluid. Once a devil fruit user drank the energy fluid, they could improve their strength, just like how Moyu used demon energy to improve his hockey. As for why Moyu didn't dig for demonic cores, it was because the system had already automatically helped him extract the demon energy. A dug-out demonic core was no different from an ordinary bead, much like the ox fruit, so Mo Yu naturally had no need to dig for demonic cores. For the sake of their friendship, Li Feifei had no choice but to continue following them forward, and at this moment, danger arrived quietly. Roar, roar, roar. Just after Li Feifei and the others had walked not far, a terrifying roar suddenly came from ahead. Hearing this roar, the expressions of Li Feifei and the others all changed, and they couldn't help but stop in their tracks. Something is coming. At this moment, the captain of the 10-person team said with a pale face. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, a huge figure suddenly appeared before everyone. It was a massive tiger, about 3 meters tall and 5 meters long. It had blood-colored fur that looked like burning flames, a pair of sharp claws capable of tearing through anything, and it opened its bloody maw, revealing 2 terrifying fangs. That is a third-rank demonic beast, the blood flame tiger. Looking at the tiger, Li Feifei was so scared that she fell to the ground, and upon hearing Li Feifei's words, the others also turned pale. Third-rank demonic beast. What do we do? We're dead for sure. It's over. If only we had listened to Li Feifei earlier and turned back. Seeing this blood flame tiger, everyone felt despair, their bodies trembling uncontrollably, and the blood flame tiger was rapidly approaching them. Everyone, run, run, save whoever you can. Roar. Before the captain could finish speaking, the blood flame tiger pounced and swallowed him in one bite. Ah! Run! Seeing the captain swallowed by the blood flame tiger in one bite, the others reacted and scattered, fleeing in all directions. Just as the captain had said, save whoever you can. However, how could they possibly outrun the blood flame tiger? One by one, they were caught and eaten by the blood flame tiger. Except for Li Feifei, everyone else died at the hands of the blood flame tiger. As for why Li Feifei was unharmed, it was because she was too thin, and the blood flame tiger felt she had too little meat on her. Roar, roar, roar. Having eaten its fill, the blood flame tiger let out a sky-shaking roar. Immediately, all the demonic beasts on the outskirts of the monster forest submitted to this roar. What is that sound? Mo Yu, who was in the monster forest, naturally heard the heaven-shaking roar. However, he didn't care and simply continued hunting the monsters in front of him. He now had 8,953 points of demon energy. After killing a few more monsters, he would be able to upgrade his armament hockey. Roar, roar. This roar was exactly the cry of the third-rank demonic beast, the blood flame tiger. After having its fill, the blood flame tiger did not return to its lair but instead walked toward the edge of the monster forest. Monsters could all release their own pressure, just like Mo Yu's conqueror's hockey. The pressure of high-rank monsters was enough to strike fear into low-rank monsters, allowing them to be enslaved and driven. Although the blood flame tiger was only a third-rank demonic beast, to first and second-rank monsters, it was a high-rank monster. Therefore, those first and second-rank monsters were terrified and wanted to flee the monster forest. There were tens of thousands of low-rank monsters on the outskirts of the monster forest. At this moment, these monsters were fleeing out of the forest in a grand procession like a massive army, just like a beast tied from a fantasy novel. Boom, 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 boom. Due to the flight of the low-rank monsters, the entire monster forest looked as if it had been hit by a sandstorm. A large number of monsters rushed out of the monster forest and ran toward Ancient City. Monsters had a very strong sense of smell. They caught the scent of humans and knew there was food in that direction, so they charged toward Ancient City for the sake of food. What's going on? Don't you think there are more and more monsters running out? It seems so. At this time, the students on the outskirts of the monster forest noticed a large number of monsters rushing out. Initially, only a few scattered monsters had emerged, so they hadn't paid much attention. However, now that a massive number of monsters were suddenly running out from the depths of the forest, it gave them a bad feeling that something terrible was happening. You guys, look at that. A boy pointed in a certain direction and spoke with a look of terror. As the others looked where he was pointing, their expressions also changed. They saw tens of thousands of monsters galloping toward them, each with bloodshot eyes and sharp fangs, looking hideous and terrifying. After catching the scent of humans, the monsters accelerated one after another, drooling as they ran toward them. That's a beast tide. Seeing these tens of thousands of monsters, many people were scared witless, forgetting to run for a moment. Run, let's run. If we don't run now, it'll be too late. Run. Right, let's run quickly. Run out of the forest, the teachers will meet us there. Hurry. After snapping back to reality, these students fled toward the edge of the forest in a panic, wishing they had been born with 2 extra legs. Ah! Help! Save me! I don't want to become monster food. Save me, please save me. Don't come over here. Ah. Although they were running with all their might, students continued to trip one after another, only to be devoured by the monsters following closely behind. At this moment, the weaknesses of human nature were fully exposed. To avoid becoming monster food, some people even deliberately pushed those beside them backward. Regardless of whether the person was a longtime friend, a brother as close as hands and feet, or a lover, in this moment of crisis, only one's own life mattered. Ah. Help. No, don't come over here. Ah. For a time, the screams in the forest were unending. The cries for help could even be heard by the teachers outside the forest. What's happening? Why are there so many screams? What on earth happened? What exactly is going on inside the forest? Hearing the continuous screams, the teachers were also anxious. Although it was common for students to die during practical lessons, it was usually only one or two, and never more than three. But now, at least dozens must have died. One must know that Gucheng no. One high school only had about 500 students who were devil fruit users in total. This was a major teaching accident. Once the parents who lost their children came looking for answers, the school wouldn't be able to explain it. It was even possible that the school would eventually be forced to close, and these teachers would face the risk of unemployment. Of course, there were also many teachers who truly loved their students, and they were extremely anxious. Should we go in and take a look? No matter what, we must rescue those students. At this time, those examinees who were worried about the students' safety suggested. But, we still don't know what exactly happened inside the forest. Isn't it too dangerous to rush in blindly? Yeah, let's discuss it first. If all else fails, we can report to the City Defense Army and let those experts rescue the students. It would be more efficient. Naturally, there were teachers who wanted to save the students, and there were also teachers who were afraid of the monsters in the forest and didn't dare to go. Chen Liang was one of the latter. As long as I'm alive, who cares if those little brats live or die? With this thought in mind, Chen Liang lowered his head and remained silent, listening to the others argue. What do you mean? Do you want to abandon the students? What else can we do? We don't even know the situation. What if we die too? The strongest among us are only third-tier ability users. What use is that level of strength? Humph. I really thought better of you. Fine. Those who are willing to save the students, follow me. Those who want to be cowards, stay here. Wait a minute, stop arguing. At this moment, the vice principal, who had come with the students, saw the two groups arguing incessantly and spoke up at the right time. Some students have already run out. Let's ask them what the situation is first, and then make a decision. The vice principal was a third-tier ability user. He had already sensed over a dozen students running this way, and behind them was a massive number of monsters. Since the highest ranking and strongest person present had spoken, the two groups of teachers stopped arguing, though they still looked at each other with disdain. Help! Teacher, save us! Teacher, come help us! Upon seeing the leading teachers and the school bus, the panicked students felt as if they had caught a lifeline and accelerated frantically toward them. Dozens of monsters followed closely behind. Get back! Seeing the dozens of low-rank monsters chasing the students, the vice principal took action. He immediately used his devil fruit ability, transforming into a giant werewolf in an instant. The vice principal's devil fruit was exactly the zone-type dog fruit common species wolf model, which allowed him to transform into a werewolf or a wolf, granting him immense strength and speed. Awoo! The vice principal, now a werewolf, let out a howl and instantly stood behind the students. His power as a third-tier ability user erupted, killing those monsters in an instant. Humph, to be scared like this by mere low-rank monsters, what a bunch of trash. You've completely disgraced the school. After dealing with those dozens of monsters and seeing the students who were terrified by them, the vice principal disdainfully scolded the disappointing students. No, vice principal, a student said, panting heavily. Vice principal, a beast tide has broken out. Behind us, there are tens of thousands of monsters. We are no match for them. What did you say? A beast tide. Hearing the students' words, the faces of the vice principal and the teachers present all changed drastically. Yes, a beast tide has broken out. Tens of thousands of demonic beasts are heading this way. The student reiterated. Hearing these words, all the teachers present gasped in collective shock. In this world, nothing was more terrifying than a beast tide. If anything was, it was an even larger scale beast tide. What should we do? A beast tide has broken out, we should run quickly. Yeah, otherwise we'll all end up as monster fodder. Right, let's get out of here fast. Upon hearing that a beast tide had erupted, the teachers clamored to leave. They all knew that a beast tide was no longer something they could handle. Enough. What kind of behavior is this panicking? You are teachers. You must be responsible for your students. Our students are in the forest right now, are we supposed to just abandon them? The vice principal roared in fury, rebuking the group of cowardly teachers. Only now did he realize the school actually had so many irresponsible teachers. The vice principal then commanded, contact the ancient city's city defense army immediately. Tell them a beast tide has broken out, they will handle things from there. To deal with beast tides from the monster forest, the imperial capital had established 7 strategic cities, and Ancient City was one of them. Each city was garrisoned by over 100,000 city defense army troops. The mission of these city defense army troops was to suppress the demonic beasts whenever a beast tide erupted. It was actually quite similar to the 7 warlords of the sea in the original Pirate King series. Except one was to deter pirates, while the other was to suppress beast tides. Vice Principal, we've contacted the City Defense Army. They said they'll be here soon. So, what should we do? Wait. Before the City Defense Army arrives, we stay here until all those students are rescued. Then we'll leave. The Vice Principal commanded in a cold voice, and no one dared to defy his orders now. Whether the teachers were willing or not, they all went to rescue the students, killing some demonic beasts along the way. However, as time passed minute by minute, the number of demonic beasts grew, while the number of rescued students dwindled. Even teachers began to suffer casualties. By now, they had managed to save about 300 students. Vice Principal, let's retreat. There are more and more demonic beasts, we can't hold out much longer. Yes, almost all the students have been rescued. Those who haven't arrived have likely been killed by the beasts. We can't let the remaining students die at the hands of these monsters too. Seeing the increasing number of demonic beasts, fear grew in the teachers' hearts. They had killed many, but the monsters seemed endless. As soon as one was killed, more would charge forward from behind. At this point, the teachers were either dead or wounded. Even the vice principal, a third-tier ability user, was heavily injured under the charge of tens of thousands of demonic beasts, with one arm fractured. His body swayed, looking like he might collapse at any moment. Glancing at the 300 or so students on the buses behind him, the vice principal sighed helplessly and said, then let's retreat. Phew. Retreat. Retreat quickly. Let's get out of here. Hearing the vice principal's order to retreat, the teachers breathed a sigh of relief, having feared he would insist on staying. They then ushered the 300-plus students to leave. With a loud vroom, the driver slammed on the gas, speeding toward Ancient City at full throttle. The demonic beasts followed closely behind. On the other side, armament, finger pistol, whoosh. Mo Yu extended a finger, wrapping it in armament hockey, and then thrust it into the brain of the demonic beast in front of him. Awoo. The demonic beast let out a mournful cry before dying under Mo Yu's finger pistol. The demon energy within its body was extracted by the hockey system. During this half hour, Mo Yu had been hunting demonic beasts while also honing his physical techniques. However, with the outbreak of the beast tide, the number of demonic beasts in the forest decreased until it was finally empty, leaving Mo Yu quite frustrated. Because of the beast tide, there's not a single demonic beast left in the outer perimeter of the monster forest. I'd better not find out which fool triggered the beast tide, or I'll cut him into 1,000 pieces. Mo Yu grumbled quietly because there were no more beasts, but he still hadn't realized that the person who actually triggered the beast tide was himself. If he hadn't thrown the corpses of Zhao Kai and the others into the depths of the monster forest, the blood flame tiger wouldn't have been lured out, and the beast tide wouldn't have erupted. However, Mo Yu would never know this. Ah! Help! At that moment, a little cat girl came running over and accidentally crashed into Mo Yu's arms. Ow! That hurts. Who are you? The cat girl who had bumped into him looked at Mo Yu and asked. This cat girl was none other than Li Feifei, and her devil fruit ability was the zone-type cat fruit model. Wild cat, which significantly enhanced her physical constitution and speed. My name is Mo Yu. Who are you? What are you doing here? Mo Yu asked with a puzzled look after brushing Li Feifei off him. Roar. Behind Li Feifei, a large tiger followed. It was the very blood flame tiger that had triggered the beast tide. My name is Li Feifei. Let's run. That's a third-rank demonic beast, the blood flame tiger. We're no match for it. A third-rank demonic beast. Hearing Li Feifei's words, a flash of excitement crossed Mo Yu's eyes. He now had the strength of a peak second tier, and those first and second rank demonic beasts were no longer his match. Mo Yu was just looking for a strong opponent to test his current strength. What better opponent could there be right now than this blood flame tiger? Besides, this was a third rank demonic beast, it would definitely yield a lot of demon energy. Hey, what's wrong with you? Why are you spacing out? Li Feifei asked Mo Yu in confusion. For some reason, she felt that the look in Mo Yu's eyes as he stared at the blood flame tiger carried a hint of excitement, as if it weren't a terrifying blood flame tiger but a great beauty. What was going on? Could this blood flame tiger have some kind of charm ability? Li Feifei couldn't help but wonder. Roar. Upon seeing Mo Yu, the blood flame tiger roared while drooling, a powerful pressure bearing down on him. Conqueror's Haki. At that moment, Mo Yu also released his Conqueror's Haki. A mental shockwave, even more powerful than yesterday's, surged toward the blood flame tiger, clashing with the pressure it released. For a moment, the man and the tiger were locked in a stalemate. Ah! However, this was miserable for Li Feifei nearby. Standing right next to Mo Yu and the blood flame tiger, she felt two extremely intense pressures simultaneously. She was startled, feeling as if she were being stared down by two demons, and hurriedly hid behind Mo Yu. Looking at Mo Yu in front of her, Li Feifei was filled with doubt. What exactly is the background of this boy named Mo Yu? To be able to withstand the pressure of a third-rank demonic beast, could he be a third-tier ability user? But then again, among the third-tier ability users in school, is there such a person? With such formidable strength, how have I never heard of him? This is truly strange. Roar. Just as Li Feifei was lost in her wild thoughts, the blood flame tiger let out a roar. With a sudden kick of its legs, it lunged at Mo Yu with incredible speed. Like a streak of bloody light, it instantly appeared before Mo Yu and raised its sharp claws to strike him. Good timing. Seeing the blood flame tiger charge, Mo Yu was not surprised at all, as this was exactly what he expected. Mo Yu had been constantly releasing his observation haki, so all of the blood flame tiger's movements were within his grasp. Shave. At that moment, Mo Yu also used shave. Having reached the minor success level, his shave was even faster, not at all inferior to the speed of the blood flame tiger. Come on. Mo Yu gave a light shout and threw a punch at the blood flame tiger. Boom. A massive sound erupted as Mo Yu's fist, coated in armament haki, collided with the blood flame tiger's sharp claws. Both Mo Yu and the blood flame tiger were forced back several steps by each other's power. As expected of a third-rank demonic beast, truly powerful. Mo Yu's armament haki was only at the second tier. After trading a punch with the third-rank demonic beast blood flame tiger, his hand was stinging with pain, but he was already very strong. One should know that even among third-rank demonic beasts, the blood flame tiger's strength was top tier. The fact that Mo Yu could clash with the blood flame tiger at the second tier without being disadvantaged was already excellent. In the eyes of others, Mo Yu was already a genius. Take Li Feifei nearby, for example. Holy crap, he actually dared to trade punches with a blood flame tiger. Is this guy that badass? Could it be that he really is a third-tier ability user? But there are no more than 10 third-tier ability users in the whole school. Logically, I should know who he is. Did he just recently reach the third tier? That must be it. Otherwise, there's no way I wouldn't have heard his name. Seeing Mo Yu actually dare to go head-to-head with the blood flame tiger, Li Feifei was also shocked beyond measure. However, what would surprise her more was yet to come. Roar. Because Mo Yu had absorbed 2 devil fruits, his strength was immense. Even the blood flame tiger felt pain for a moment. Consequently, there was now a hint of wariness in its eyes as it looked at Mo Yu. It seems the blood flame tiger is going to show its true strength. I should also show some real skill. With that thought, Mo Yu drew the ink plum from his waist. Previously, because he had been honing his physical techniques, he had kept the ink plum in the scabbard at his waist. Now, facing the third-rank demonic beast blood flame tiger, Mo Yu did not dare to be careless in the slightest and brought out his strongest power to battle the beast. What kind of weapon is that? It's amazing. Seeing the ink plum in Mo Yu's hand, Li Feifei couldn't help but cry out in surprise. It wasn't her fault. After all, anyone could see that the ink plum was extraordinary. That pitch black metal, could it be that demon steel was added to the weapon? Just how much demon steel was used? Li Feifei could never have imagined that the ink plum was a magic sword made of 100% demon steel, without a single impurity. Roar. Seeing Mo Yu draw the ink plum, the blood flame tiger's eyes grew more solemn. At the same time, the demon energy within its body erupted continuously. Blood-colored flames began to burn on the blood flame tiger's body. No wonder it was called the blood flame tiger. Any nearby trees or stones that touched the blood flames were instantly reduced to ash. Mo Yu, be careful. That's the blood flame tiger's ability, blood flame. Anything that touches it will be instantly burned to ash. Seeing the terrifying flames burning on the blood flame tiger, Li Feifei screamed out, hurriedly warning Mo Yu. burning everything to ash. That sounds quite similar to Amaterasu. Hearing Li Feifei's words, Mo Yu couldn't help but think of Amaterasu. Then, he smiled and said to the blood flame tiger, let's see if you can also burn this ink plum, made of 100% demon steel, to ash. One sword style. Ink Sun. Mo Yu coated the ink plum with powerful armament haki. Then, a thick mist of black energy began to radiate from the ink plum, as dark as ink. Immediately following that, Mo Yu swung his sword forcefully toward the blood flame tiger. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Accompanied by a buzzing sound, a crescent-shaped black energy slash rapidly cut through the sky. That ink black energy instantly covered half the sky, as if the entire heavens were enveloped in darkness. Looking at that pitch black sky, a trace of fear appeared in the blood flame tiger's eyes, and it felt the urge to retreat. However, before it could turn to run, a massive wind blade slash landed on its body. Boom, boom, boom. Another explosive roar sounded as the blood flame tiger's massive body was sliced into countless pieces under Mo Yu's slash. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully killing a third-ranked demonic beast, Blood Flame Tiger. Gained 5,693 demon energy points. Phew. Finally over. Hehe, I didn't expect Ink Sun to be this powerful. Hearing the system's prompt, Mo Yu chuckled. The strike just now was a technique Mo Yu had come up with after absorbing the scythe fruit. The scythe fruit can slice through the air to create wind blades. Mo Yu gathered a large number of wind blades together and simultaneously coated them with ink-like armament haki to enhance their power. That black energy was actually countless wind blades coated in armament haki. Like thick ink blotting out the sky, bringing infinite despair and death to the enemy, Mo Yu named this move, Ink Sun. Originally, this move, Ink Sun, was just a technique in Mo Yu's imagination that he had only simulated in his mind. This was also the first time he had used it, and he hadn't expected it to actually succeed, killing the third-ranked demonic beast Blood Flame Tiger in a single hit. Hehe, I didn't expect to be able to get so much demon energy. As expected of a third-ranked demonic beast. With the demon energy provided by the Blood Flame Tiger, the system's demon energy instantly exceeded 10,000. Upgrade. Without a second thought, Mo Yu upgraded his armament haki. Now, Mo Yu's armament haki had reached the third tier, and his strength had increased several times over. So powerful. Defeating a third-ranked demonic beast in one hit. I'm afraid even Sister Schweyer couldn't do that. Could it be that he is even stronger than Sister Schweyer? Impossible. Sister Schweyer is the school's recognized #1 goddess in both strength and beauty. This Mo Yu couldn't possibly be her match. Besides, Sister Schweyer's devil fruit is the Logia-type ice fruit. Mo Yu wouldn't even be able to land an attack on her, let alone defeat her. Li Feifei spoke in a soft whisper, and by this time, Mo Yu had already walked over to her. Hey, are you okay? Mo Yu smiled as he looked at the stunned Li Feifei. I'm fine. Li Feifei spoke with her head down, deeply afraid that she might accidentally anger Mo Yu and be killed to feed the demonic beasts. Let's go then. Saying this, Mo Yu started walking forward on his own, not caring whether Li Feifei could keep up. Hey, where are you going? Li Feifei asked. Do you even need to ask? Home, of course. A beast tide has broken out. I don't know if the teachers will wait for us. Since you know a beast tide has broken out, you should know there are at least tens of thousands of demonic beasts over there. I know you're strong, but even a swarm of ants can kill an elephant. You're no match for that many demonic beasts. Hehe, how can we know for sure without trying? Mo Yu smiled and continued walking forward, while Li Feifei just sighed and followed him. Although Li Feifei felt that Mo Yu was taking too much of a risk, his strength was unquestionable, and following him would definitely be safer. Roar. Awoo. It was unknown how much time had passed, but after the Blood Flame Tiger was killed, the monsters that had been scared off could no longer feel the Blood Flame Tiger's pressure, so they retreated one after another back to the monster forest. Huh, what's going on? Why are these fool monsters retreating? Could it be that they were scared off by us, and that's why they retreated? That's unlikely. We only took out a few hundred monsters, and the beast tide consists of tens of thousands. It's impossible for them to retreat just because they lost a few hundred. Yeah, besides, if they had attacked for another half hour, we wouldn't have been able to hold them off anymore. They have no reason to retreat. Regardless, there must be a reason for the monsters' retreat. Outside the monster forest stood a group of soldiers in military uniforms, numbering about 10,000. There were also various tanks, combat vehicles, and all kinds of heavy weapons. These soldiers were from the ancient city's city defense army. After receiving the report from Gucheng No. one high school, and learning that a beast tide had broken out in the monster forest, they had taken the initiative to come and intercept the tide. Although they were just first and second tier monsters, their sheer numbers had exhausted the soldiers, but fortunately, casualties were low. It was hard to imagine how many of these people would survive if a larger scale beast tide occurred. There were over 100,000 city defense army soldiers in ancient city, and these 10,000 were merely the vanguard. More troops were on their way. Alright, tell the main force not to come over for now. I'm worried this might be a conspiracy by the monsters. Huh. Commander, you're joking, right? Aren't monsters just a bunch of wild beasts? What kind of conspiracy could they have? If it weren't for their overwhelming numbers, we would have wiped them out long ago. Don't be careless. If monsters were as easy to deal with as you say, we wouldn't have lost 90% of our land and population over the last 1,000 years. Stay alert. Everyone, give me your undivided attention. If I catch anyone slacking off, see how I deal with him. The commander of the vanguard said with a serious expression, looking toward the monster forest with a hint of doubt in his eyes. Wow. Mo Yu, what should we do? The monsters from the beast tide are all coming back. Li Feifei asked, grabbing Mo Yu's hand in a panic. The retreating monsters, upon smelling Mo Yu and Li Feifei, immediately became excited and lunged toward the two while drooling. The blood flame tiger has been defeated. It was within my expectations that these monsters would return. Mo Yu said calmly. Unlike the panicked Li Feifei, Mo Yu's face was extremely calm without a trace of anxiety, as if everything was under his control. Ah, since you already knew, you must have a solution, right? Li Feifei asked excitedly, as if grasping at a lifeline. Yeah, isn't this simple? Phew. It's good that you have a way. After hearing Mo Yu's affirmative words, Li Feifei breathed a sigh of relief, but what Mo Yu said next left her stunned. Isn't it fine just to take them all out? As he said this, Mo Yu drew the ink plum from his waist and charged toward the retreating beast tide. Huh. You're not joking, are you? There are so many monsters, how are you going to take them out? Hey. Before Li Feifei could finish speaking, Mo Yu had already charged up. One sword style. Ink Sun. Mo Yu used Ink Sun again. Because Mo Yu's armament haki had improved to the third tier, the power of Ink Sun was even stronger. A wave of black energy, even thicker than before, was released, accompanied by a massive slash that surged into the midst of the beast tide. Boom boom boom. Another explosive roar echoed. After being struck by the slash, a huge crack appeared on the ground, as if the entire earth had been cut open. Awoo. Not only that, but after being swept by that black energy, the monsters in the beast tide were either dead or injured. In an instant, at least several hundred monsters died under that slash. Roar. However, those monsters seemed not to know fear. Seeing hundreds of their kind killed, the monsters behind still rushed forward one after another. This is truly endless. In that case, I'll use this. Witness my Conqueror's Haki. Mo Yu released his Conqueror's Haki, and a wide-range mental shockwave surged toward the beast tide. Awoo. Whimper. The monsters intimidated by the Conqueror's Haki stopped in their tracks, and some of the weaker first-tier monsters even collapsed onto the ground with a thud. Move aside. Mo Yu brandished the ink plum and commanded the terrified monsters, while continuously releasing his Conqueror's Haki. To these monsters, Mo Yu's Conqueror's Haki was in no way inferior to the Blood Flame Tiger's pressure, it was even stronger than the Blood Flame Tiger's pressure. Therefore, seeing Mo Yu approach, the monsters parted to create a path, letting Mo Yu and Li Feifei walk through. These monsters actually parted ways. Seeing those monsters prostrating on the ground, seemingly paying respects to Mo Yu, Li Feifei's worldview was refreshed once again. Could humans actually tame monsters? Or rather, could humans actually make monsters submit? Are you not coming? Seeing Li Feifei still standing there in a daze, Mo Yu couldn't help but call out. Oh, coming. Hearing Mo Yu's voice, Li Feifei hurriedly ran over to catch up with Mo Yu. Mo Yu walked in front, also responsible for intimidating the monsters, while Li Feifei followed him like a little tail. The two walked through the monster forest for 2 or 3 hours like this, and the sun gradually set. They couldn't help but speed up. The monster forest was even more dangerous at night than during the day. Commander, it seems like there are people in the forest. By this time, the city defense army had already set up camp in the monster forest and built a high wall to guard against any sudden attacks by monsters at night. As for how they built this high wall in a few hours, it must have been because there were devil fruit users in the city defense army. Just then, Mo Yu and Li Feifei walked out of the monster forest and were spotted by the soldiers on the wall. What did you say? After hearing the soldiers' words, the city defense army commander, Wang Zi, also ran over to look down the wall, and saw Mo Yu and Li Feifei walking out of the woods. Judging by their clothing, that looks like the Gucheng No. 1 high school uniform, right? But didn't their vice principal say that all the students in the forest were dead? Hearing the soldier's words, Wang Zi snorted and said, HMPH, with a beast tide occurring, anyone would think those students were dead. But who could have imagined that these two little guys could actually survive in the terrifying beast tide? As he said this, he looked toward Mo Yu again, his eyes filled with a trace of admiration, especially that boy, his body is covered in blood, he must have gone through a life and death struggle, right? This is a true warrior. Huh, what's going on? When did such a city wall appear here? Mo Yu couldn't help but frown slightly as he looked at the tall city wall in front of him. Maybe someone built this wall to defend against the beast tide. Li Feifei guessed. Since the city defense army had built the wall to defend against the beast tide, there were no gates on it at all. What should we do? Without a gate, won't we be unable to get across? Seeing that there was no gate on the wall, Li Feifei couldn't help but feel troubled. HMPH, what's so difficult about this? Don't get scared. Huh, what did you say? Before Li Feifei could finish asking, Mo Yu grabbed her hand and then threw her up toward the city wall. Ah, Mo Yu, you fool. How dare you throw me? If I get hurt, just wait until I deal with you. Mo Yu had no time to pay attention to the screaming Li Feifei. In the time it took for her to yell, Mo Yu had already rushed up the wall. Relying on moonwalk, one of the 6 powers, he stepped on the air and climbed the wall as if walking upstairs. Just as Mo Yu reached the top of the wall, Li Feifei also happened to fly up to the wall, and Mo Yu caught her. Huff, huff. A terrified Li Feifei collapsed on the ground, gasping for air. She then pointed at Mo Yu's nose and cursed, "You fool. You don't even know how to be gentle with women. If you scared me into having a heart attack, how would you take responsibility? Hey, that's still better than being eaten by a monster and ending up as monster dung, right?" Mo Yu said with a light chuckle. You. Li Feifei pointed at Mo Yu's face, speechless for a moment after being retorted. Ha ha ha, such strong power, such impressive physical techniques. The two of you actually managed to survive the beast tide. Truly admirable. Heroes really do come from the youth. At this moment, Wang Zi was also full of surprise when he saw how Mo Yu climbed the wall. After all, Mo Yu's moonwalk was as unbelievable as stepping on one's own left foot with the right to ascend to the sky. However, there were so many devil fruits in this world, perhaps there was one that granted such an ability. Therefore, Wang Zi didn't overthink it. Huh, you are. Seeing this officer of the vanguard unit, Mo Yu asked with a puzzled expression. Oh, allow me to introduce myself. I am Wang Zi, the chief of the vanguard unit of the ancient city defense army. We received a report from Gucheng No. 1 high school stating that a beast tide had broken out, and we are here to suppress it. You must be students from Gucheng No. 1 high school, right? After Wang Zi finished his introduction, he carefully examined Mo Yu and Li Feifei. However, he only glanced at Li Feifei before finally fixing his gaze on Mo Yu. Wang Zi had seen countless people. He could tell that Li Feifei was just an ordinary girl from a regular family with little strength. It was impossible for her to have survived coming out of a forest full of monsters on her own. Now that she had made it out, there must have been an expert helping her, and that expert was undoubtedly the Mo Yu standing beside her. This made Wang Zi hold Mo Yu in even higher regard. It was already difficult for an ordinary student to survive in such a beast tide, let alone carry Li Feifei, who was a burden. Therefore, in Wang Zi's heart, he had a very high opinion of Mo Yu. That's right, we are students from Gucheng No. 1 high school. May I ask about the others? Have they all gone back? Seeing that there were only members of the city defense army here and no sign of the school teachers, Mo Yu guessed that they must have assumed all the students in the forest had died and therefore returned. He could understand this. After all, if it were him, he would have done the same. Yes, the number of monsters in this beast tide was simply too large. It was not something those students and teachers could withstand, so they went back. Wang Zi nodded and said, then looked at Mo Yu's school uniform, which was stained red with blood, and said, little friend Mo Yu, you have been in the forest for such a long time, you must be tired by now, right? How about this, I will have my men take you back. Then thank you very much, Officer Wang. Mo Yu didn't stand on ceremony. After all, he had been fighting monsters all day, and he hadn't eaten a single bite since this morning. Mo Yu was human too and would feel hungry, so he wanted to go to a restaurant to have a big meal and then go home to get a good night's sleep. It's no problem. If only we had a few more powerful ability users like little friend Mo Yu among us humans. As he spoke, Wang Zi instructed the soldier beside him, Xiao Yang, take little friend Mo Yu back in the car. Yes, sir. The soldier nodded and replied, then drove Mo Yu and Li Feifei back to school. Mo Yu, can we add each other on WeChat? After getting out of the car, Li Feifei took out a beautiful pink phone and asked Mo Yu. She didn't even forget to bring her phone while fleeing for her life. No wonder this girl almost became a snack for the blood flame tiger. Huh, why do you want my WeChat? Hee, after going through this battle, we can be considered to have shared weal and woe, right? Shouldn't we add each other on WeChat as a memento? Hey, you really know how to flatter yourself. It was mostly me suffering alone, and then I had to share the wheel with you. But as the saying goes, meeting is fate. As he spoke, Mo Yu also took out his phone. Compared to Li Feifei's exquisite phone, Mo Yu's phone looked like cheap street stall merchandise. But that was no surprise. Mo Yu couldn't even solve his own basic needs, so where would he get the money to buy those high-end phones? Bye bye, Mo Yu, see you tomorrow. Yeah, see you tomorrow. After saying goodbye to Li Feifei, Mo Yu left. Money. I should find a way to make some money, otherwise I'm afraid I'll be drinking the northwest wind in the future. Walking on the street, Mo Yu was thinking about how to make money quickly, when he saw that the assessment for devil fruit appraiser was tomorrow. In this world, there was no such thing as a devil fruit encyclopedia, nor was there the most professional devil fruit identification technique. Therefore, identifying fruits and confirming their devil fruit ability became a very difficult task. This gave rise to the profession of devil fruit appraiser, which was the most profitable profession in the world. As long as one became a devil fruit appraiser, one would basically never have to worry about food or drink for the rest of their life, and those senior, excellent appraisers were even treated like national treasures. With the devil fruit identification technique, identifying devil fruits is a piece of cake for me. It seems I must go and try to take this assessment tomorrow. Thinking of this, Mo Yu smiled, then walked quickly back home. After arriving home, he took a shower, ate dinner, and then lay on the bed and fell fast asleep, sleeping until dawn. Mo Yu, are you really dead? You were clearly so strong. Why did you just die like that? The next day, Luo Xinyan looked at Mo Yu's desk, tears streaming down her eyes uncontrollably, her eye sockets swollen from crying. After the teachers and students returned yesterday, they compiled a list of the dead and missing, and Mo Yu was prominently on the list of the missing. Thinking about the beast tide that had broken out in the monster forest, Luo Xinyan didn't think Mo Yu could have survived it, so she was very sad and heartbroken. She hadn't slept all night yesterday, lying on her bed and crying all night. Even after arriving at school this morning, Luo Xinyan was lying on her desk crying. And just then, the class suddenly quieted down. Everyone was looking at the classroom door as if they had seen a ghost in broad daylight. A person walked in through the door. It was none other than Mo Yu. When the students in the class saw Mo Yu walk into the classroom, they were as shocked as if they had seen a ghost in broad daylight. They were momentarily rendered speechless, staring blankly at Mo Yu. Mo Yu naturally noticed the gazes of his classmates, but he didn't care and walked straight to his desk. Xin Yan, why are you crying? Who bullied you? Seeing Luo Xinyan crying, Mo Yu couldn't help but ask. Mo Yu, you. Hearing this familiar voice, Luo Xinyan's eyes widened instantly, and she jerked her head up to look at Mo Yu in shock. Mo Yu, you are still alive. Yeah, of course I'm still alive. By the way, what's wrong with you? Why are you crying so early in the morning? Mo Yu smiled and nodded, then gently patted Luo Xinyan on the back to comfort her. I thought you were dead. Seeing Mo Yu's familiar face, Luo Xinyan finally couldn't hold it back and hugged Mo Yu, crying out. Perhaps it was because both of them were poor students, and both had encountered car accidents when they were young. Mo Yu and Luo Xinyan got along very well, giving people the feeling that they were a match made in heaven. Mo Yu lost his parents in a car accident, and Luo Xinyan was disfigured in one too. The two shared the same misfortune, which is why they were able to become good friends. Alright, stop crying. Didn't I tell you? I'm very strong, it's not that easy for me to die. Stop crying quickly, look, your eyes are all swollen, it won't look good later. Seeing Luo Xinyan cry even louder, Mo Yu hurriedly comforted the girl. After a while, Luo Xinyan finally stopped crying. Speaking of which, what exactly happened to you guys? And how did you come back? I only know that a beast tide broke out in the monster forest, I don't know anything else. And yesterday, your name was on the list of dead and missing released by the school. I was so scared at the time, I thought you were dead. Seeing Mo Yu return alive, Luo Xinyan was overjoyed and couldn't help but start asking about Mo Yu's situation in the monster forest. This time was really dangerous, but I was lucky enough to hide, so I was fine. In the end, I was saved by an officer from the city defense army. You know, when I saw those monsters, I was also shocked. There were too many people here, it wasn't the place to talk, and Moyu didn't want to expose his strength too early. Therefore, Moyu deliberately made up a lie. In reality, he wasn't worried at all that those monsters could hurt him. He had walked out of the monster forest by himself and didn't need any help from the city defense army at all. So that's how it was, that was really close. Fortunately, this was the last practical class. After this, you just have to wait for the college entrance examination in a month, so you won't have to go to such dangerous places again. Hearing Mo Yu recount his experiences in the monster forest, Luo Xinyan felt as if she had been there herself, lingering fear in her heart, and then she smiled and comforted Mo Yu. Hee, but I didn't return empty-handed this time. My strength is even greater now, so no one in school will dare to bully you in the future. Plus, I brought a gift back for you. Mo Yu said with a mysterious smile, and when Luo Xinyan heard that Mo Yu had brought her a gift, her eyes lit up and she asked. A gift? What kind of gift? Let me see. Look, it's this. As he said this, Mo Yu took a banana out of his pocket, it had spiral patterns on it. It was exactly that mutated healing fruit, which was the gift Mo Yu intended for Luo Xinyan. This is a devil fruit. No way, Mo Yu actually obtained another devil fruit. Is his luck too good? I remember he obtained the hockey fruit the day before yesterday, and the day before that he snatched another devil fruit from Zhao Kai, and then yesterday he found this devil fruit in the monster forest, right? 3 days in a row, getting a devil fruit every day, no one has luck like that. Looking at the healing fruit in Mo Yu's hand, the surrounding classmates were full of envy, and at the same time, many people looked at the healing fruit in Mo Yu's hand with greedy eyes. Some even wanted to snatch it for themselves, but they didn't have the guts. And they were even more envious of Luo Xinyan, envious that she had such a loyal desk mate. After all, it was the first time they had seen someone give away a devil fruit as a free gift. Is this a devil fruit? This is too precious, I cannot accept it. Hearing that Mo Yu wanted to give her the devil fruit as a gift, Luo Xinyan was also startled, she hadn't expected Mo Yu to be so generous. Looking at that devil fruit, it would be a lie to say she didn't want it, she wouldn't even believe herself if she said that. But as the saying goes, one shouldn't receive a reward without merit. After all, this was something Mo Yu had obtained by risking his life. Perhaps Mo Yu had gotten into danger just to find this devil fruit for her. Thinking of this, Luo Xinyan felt even more guilty. It's okay, this is specially for you, as a repayment for all the help you've given me over the past 3 years. Mo Yu smiled and stuffed the healing fruit into Luo Xinyan's hand, then continued. I know your family isn't wealthy, yet for these past 3 years, you've insisted on bringing me breakfast every day. As the saying goes, a drop of water in need shall be returned with a spring. I should thank you for your help over the last 3 years. Eat it quickly, okay. As he said this, Mo Yu had already peeled the banana for Luo Xinyan, and then he stuffed the banana into Luo Xinyan's hand again. Alright then, thank you. Mo Yu. Luo Xinyan didn't stand on ceremony. If she were any more polite, it would seem pretentious. She just thanked Mo Yu, blushing. She then picked up the banana, put it in her mouth, and took a bite. Instantly, a taste like eating an astringent persimmon filled her mouth, making Luo Xinyan want to spit the fruit out, but she clamped her hand over her mouth. She knew that this bite of fruit was even more precious than her life, so she endured the bitterness in her mouth and forced herself to swallow the fruit. Then she stuffed the rest of the banana into her mouth in large bites and swallowed it down. It tastes so bad. Speaking of which, what kind of ability does this fruit have? After Luo Xinyan retched twice, she began to feel for changes in her body, but after waiting for a long time, she didn't feel any changes in her body. However, just at this moment, Mo Yu noticed that the scar on Luo Xinyan's left cheek was slowly disappearing, and Luo Xinyan was becoming even more beautiful, completely not inferior to the school beauty of Gucheng No. 1 High School, Zhang Mengshui. Seeing Luo Xinyan's true appearance, everyone couldn't help but be stunned. Mo Yu, and everyone, why are you all looking at me like that? Being stared at by so many people, Luo Xinyan couldn't help but lower her head and ask, blushing. This shy little girl's appearance made her look even cuter. Hee, Xinyan, see for yourself. Mo Yu laughed, then took a small mirror from Luo Xinyan's pencil case and handed it to her. That's the end of part 1. Part 2 is coming soon.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and support our channel for more stories. Hello everyone. This is Fantasy Audiobook. Here you find original fan-made audio stories.
Pirate World. Awakening 3 types of power at the start. Part 2. My face, the scar on my face has disappeared. And, my skin seems to have become fairer too, right? Seeing herself in the mirror, Luo Xinyan was first surprised, then said with a face full of joy. What kind of devil fruit ability is this exactly? Could it be a beauty fruit? Luo Xinyan guessed doubtfully. No, it's a paramesha type healing fruit, which can help oneself and others heal any injury or illness, Mo Yu said with a smile, revealing the ability of this fruit. Ah, it can heal any injury. Hee, doesn't that make me a priest? Although it doesn't have much combat power, I really like this fruit. Luo Xinyan laughed happily. It seemed she really liked the healing fruit's ability. Moreover, in Mo Yu's impression, Luo Xinyan had always been a ladylike figure who didn't like fighting and killing. Since it is a healing fruit, let me try it out, shall I? As she said this, Luo Xinyan took a small knife from her pencil case and gently slashed her palm. Seeing this, everyone else thought Luo Xinyan had gone crazy and started self-harming. With a poochie sound, a scratch appeared on Luo Xinyan's hand, and blood immediately gushed out. However, Luo Xinyan felt no pain at all, and then the wound on her hand healed at a speed visible to the naked eye, the whole process taking less than a second. Ha ha ha. As expected of the healing fruit's ability, it really is powerful. Seeing the powerful ability of the healing fruit, Luo Xinyan couldn't help but jump up in excitement. Xin Yan, you must remember one thing. There is no weakest fruit, only the dumbest ability user. As long as you can continuously develop the healing fruit's ability, I believe you will become stronger and stronger. Mo Yu said with a smile, encouraging Luo Xinyan. He believed that this mutated healing fruit's ability would not be limited to just this, so he also had high hopes for Luo Xinyan. Don't worry, Mo Yu, I will work hard. Luo Xinyan said with a smile. Afterward, the class bell rang, and Mo Yu and the others prepared for class. As soon as their homeroom teacher, Chen Liang, walked in, he saw Mo Yu. The moment he saw Mo Yu, Chen Liang, like everyone else, looked at Mo Yu with an expression like he had seen a ghost in broad daylight. However, after confirming that Mo Yu had indeed returned alive and had even obtained a devil fruit, Chen Liang couldn't help but exclaim in his heart how good Mo Yu's luck was. And Zhao Kai from the next class still had no news up to now. He must have died in the beast tide, right? Chen Liang couldn't help but think this, yet he would never know that Zhao Kai was actually killed by Mo Yu. Then class began. Mo Yu slept through the morning classes. They were all theoretical classes about monsters and devil fruits, nothing worth listening to, and he still had to go participate in the devil fruit appraiser examination in the afternoon, so he needed to be well rested. Luo Xinyan also didn't listen to the class. Having obtained the healing fruit, she was immersed in the joy of her scar disappearing. She held a mirror in her hand, looking at it non-stop, admiring the beautiful woman in the mirror. The morning classes ended in a dream. In the afternoon, Mo Yu took a leave of absence and headed towards the appraisal association. When Mo Yu arrived at the appraisal association, it was already packed with people, at least 1,000 of them. Clearly, Mo Yu had underestimated the popularity of being a devil fruit appraiser. After all, as long as one became an appraiser, they would be set for life. Such a good job was hard for people not to be tempted by. And when Mo Yu walked into the lobby of the appraisal association, he was immediately stunned by the scene before him. The lobby was very spacious, enough to accommodate thousands of people, and the thousands of people inside were waiting in line very consciously. On the perimeter of the lobby, many soldiers holding firearms were standing by, also keeping watch to see if anyone with ill intentions had mixed in among the examinees who had come for the exam. After all, every appraiser was a treasure to humanity, and so were these examinees who came to take the appraiser exam. No one knew if a top-tier appraiser would appear among these examinees. Therefore, these soldiers were there to protect the appraisers and the examinees. At this moment, Mo Yu also squeezed into a line in time to wait. The people around him were all a few years older than him, with the youngest being in their 20s. It seemed he was the youngest person in the entire lobby. Hey, kid, do you even understand devil fruit appraisal? At this time, a middle-aged uncle standing behind him asked Mo Yu questioningly. Who are you? Seeing the middle-aged man talking to him, Mo Yu couldn't help but ask doubtfully. He didn't seem to know this person, did he? Kid, I'm asking you a question. Do you even understand devil fruit appraisal? The middle-aged man asked with an unkind expression, as if he looked down on Mo Yu. Hearing him speak in such a condescending tone, Mo Yu's expression also turned sour. After all, no one likes being looked down upon by others. Whether I understand it or not is none of your business. It's you, uncle, at your age, having still not passed the appraiser examination. I feel embarrassed for you. HMPH. You brat, sharp-tongued. I think you don't understand devil fruit appraisal at all, right? Then hurry up and get out of my way. Don't ruin a devil fruit because of your ignorance. The middle-aged man's voice was loud, quickly attracting the attention of the surrounding people. And when others saw that Mo Yu was just a 17 or 18-year-old child, they couldn't help but point at him. Yeah, what does a kid like that know about appraisal techniques? Probably just here to join in the fun, right? If you have time to come here to join in the fun, you might as well go home and read more books. That's right. Back in the day, I studied books on devil fruit appraisal day and night, just for today's exam, so I will definitely pass the assessment and become a devil fruit appraiser. HMPH, a bunch of snobs. Mo Yu muttered under his breath, then looked at the middle-aged uncle who had first looked down on him. Didn't you look down on me? Then let's have a competition, how about it? Let's see who can pass the appraiser examination, and whose score is the highest, how about it? Do you dare? Ha ha ha, what's there not to dare? Could I possibly be afraid of a kid like you? This card has 500,000 in it. If you win, I'll give it to you, how about that? As he said this, the middle-aged uncle took out a bank card and said, Fine, I accept. I have a devil fruit here. If I lose, then it will be yours. Mo Yu also took out the scythe fruit from his pocket, which was also worth around 500,000. It was just that this scythe fruit was no different from an ordinary peach, but Mo Yu had confidence in himself and believed that he would not lose. Good. That's straightforward enough, then it's happily decided. Seeing Mo Yu take out a devil fruit as a bet, the middle-aged uncle said with great joy. And just at this moment, Mo Yu suddenly noticed that the surrounding sounds had suddenly quieted down. Then, Mo Yu looked up at the podium in front of the lobby and saw an old man with graying temples walking out. And when this old man came out, everyone consciously shut their mouths, and one after another, they looked at the old man with awe-filled eyes. The old man looked very aged, yet he walked with vigorous, powerful strides, not at all like an elderly man. Huh, isn't that Li Qiancho, the president of our ancient city Devil Fruit Appraisal Association? Why has he been stirred up? Is it for real? He's a president and an intermediate appraiser, why would he come to preside over a regular appraiser examination? Could it be that he's here to see if there are any top-notch talents in this batch? That's possible. Devil fruit appraisers are divided into junior appraisers, intermediate appraisers, and senior appraisers. Generally, if the identification accuracy rate exceeds 30%, one is called a junior appraiser. If it exceeds 60%, an intermediate appraiser, and once it exceeds 90%, one can become a senior appraiser. As for reaching 100% identification rate, such appraisers almost don't exist. After all, people always make mistakes, and even a senior appraiser wouldn't dare guarantee they can identify a fruit's ability 100% of the time. Moreover, there are fewer than 10 senior appraisers on the entire Blue Star. It can be said that every senior appraiser is a treasure to humanity. Ha ha ha, I am very happy that everyone could come to participate in this examination today. Why, you ask? Because although you might all be here for fame, for honor, or perhaps just to find a good job, you have come to participate in this examination. But I want to tell you, no matter what your reason is, as long as you have earnestly studied the knowledge of devil fruit appraisal, you have made a contribution to China, to humanity, and to Blue Star. As long as you have made a contribution, you are a person worthy of respect, and I am proud of you. Additionally, I also want to say that although I cannot guarantee it elsewhere, here it is absolutely fair and just. Your efforts will definitely earn you equivalent rewards. Now I announce, the examination begins. Following Li Qiancho's order, this devil fruit appraiser examination officially began. The exam had only one question. Write down the name and abilities of the devil fruit completely, and the more detailed, the better. Each examinee had a devil fruit placed in front of them for identification. Bringing out thousands of devil fruits at once, this was equivalent to billions or even tens of billions. Even Mo Yu couldn't help but sigh at the Appraisal Association's grand scale. These devil fruits had all been previously identified by the Appraisal Association's appraisers, so the ability of each fruit could be roughly determined. As long as the fruit ability written by the examinee matched, they would pass the examination. Of course, because there is no reliable appraisal technology, appraisers dare not guarantee that the fruit abilities they identify are definitely correct. All devil fruits can only have their true abilities determined after being eaten. Therefore, if someone disagrees with the answer given by the Appraisal Association, the association will specifically find someone to taste it on the spot. After tasting, if the fruit's ability is indeed the same as the answer given by the Appraisal Association, the examinee must compensate the Appraisal Association with a devil fruit. If the examinee's identification result is correct, the appraisal association will immediately recruit this examinee and offer them better treatment than other appraisers. And if, after tasting, both the examinee and the appraisal association's answers are wrong, then all responsibility is borne by the appraisal association, and the examinee does not need to bear any responsibility. Just as Li Qianqiu said, the appraisal association is still very fair. Here, only ability and results matter, it will not change because of anyone's status or power. Very quickly, all examinees started to stare at the devil fruits in front of them and began to identify them. Because all devil fruits look different, it is impossible to identify them based on past experience. However, one can perform a rough identification based on the spiral patterns on the different fruits to determine whether it is a zone type, paramesha type, or logia type. Then, one can use methods to detect energy waves to identify the specific fruit ability. Although this sounds scientific, it is unreliable. The Appraisal Association has always wanted to solve this problem, but for over 1,000 years, there has been no effective method. Soon, Mo Yu saw many examinees starting to frown, scratching their heads, and looking at a loss. Even the middle-aged man who made a bet with Mo Yu was the same. He, but this is a piece of cake for me. Mo Yu smiled, then picked up the devil fruit, quietly waiting for the system's prompt. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a special paramesha type mochi mochi fruit. Special paramesha type mochi mochi fruit can turn the body into mochi, possessing various abilities such as changing physical constitution, freely changing body shape, creating matter, storing items, etc. It can freely change body shape, can stretch and enlarge, and is extremely similar to a logia type devil fruit, but it still falls under the category of paramesha type devil fruit. It is a special paramesha type devil fruit. Does the host wish to absorb it? Oh, it's actually the mochi mochi fruit. If I absorb it, will I be as strong as Charlotte Katakuri? Thinking of the scene where Katakuri beat up Luffy, Mo Yu still feels Katakuri's strength to this day. The mochi mochi fruit is also the first devil fruit Mo Yu has encountered that can perform elemental transformation, and it is also the only special paramesha type devil fruit in the original Pirate King work. If he absorbs it, Mo Yu is certain he will become stronger, and perhaps he might even be able to perform elemental transformation, like Katakuri. Forget it, it won't be too late to absorb it after I become an appraiser. Besides, once I become an appraiser, I will be able to come into contact with more devil fruits. At that time, what difference will devil fruits have to me compared to ordinary fruits? Hey. Thinking of this, Mo Yu couldn't help but smirk, then wrote down the name and ability of the fruit on the paper with lightning speed. The exam time was 1 hour, but Mo Yu finished in less than 5 minutes. After that, Mo Yu laid his head down and went to sleep. It just so happened that he hadn't slept enough in the morning. What's going on with this examinee? Everyone else is identifying, why has he started sleeping? Li Qianqiu, as the chief examiner, noticed the sleeping Mo Yu and couldn't help but slightly frown. Someone with such an improper attitude is not material to become an appraiser. I don't know, maybe he's a descendant of some big family here to see the world. At this time, the deputy examiner next to Li Qianqiu glanced at Mo Yu, found Mo Yu's name from the list, and guessed. With an improper attitude, such a person is destined not to achieve much. Li Qianqiu looked at the sleeping Mo Yu with disdain, then looked at the other examinees writing furiously, and a smile appeared on his face again. Time passed minute by minute, and finally, the devil fruit appraiser examination ended. Now the examination is over. All examinees, put down your pens immediately and prepare to hand in your papers. Following Chief Examiner Li Qianqiu's command, all the examinees put down their pens. Specialized staff collected the papers, and Mo Yu also handed in his own. Please wait a moment, everyone, we will grade your papers as quickly as possible. The assistant examiner made the announcement, then returned to the office with Li Qianqiu. After the two examiners left, the others began discussing among themselves. Hey, brother, how did you do? Were you able to identify the devil fruit ability? I identified it, that wasn't difficult, but I can't guarantee if it's correct. If it's wrong, then I'm done for. Don't worry. This is only the assessment for junior appraisers, the difficulty isn't that high. As long as you write down the basic name of the fruit, it should be fine. As for the ability, you don't need to write it in such detail, just the basic ability will do. Phew. That's good. I can breathe a sigh of relief now. Many people had smiles on their faces, clearly believing they had done well. Others looked dejected, clearly having failed, much like the scenes Mo Yu witnessed in his past life when elementary school students failed their exams. What surprised Mo Yu was that the middle-aged man who had made the bet with him also had a smiling expression. It seemed he had done quite well. Then, he saw the middle-aged man walking toward him with a grin. Hee hee, kid, it's time to fulfill your promise. Hurry up and give me that devil fruit. Huh. Hey, kid, are you planning to welch on the deal? Plenty of people saw our bet at the time. If you don't hand over the devil fruit, I'll expose you and show you what a social death feels like. The middle-aged man smirked, as if he could already see the look of unwillingness on Mo Yu's face when he handed over the devil fruit. Watching the middle-aged man's contemptuous expression, Mo Yu retorted without hesitation, HMPH, the scores haven't even been released yet. How do you know you won? What if I'm the winner? I think you should hand over that 500,000 to me first. You. Fine, fine, fine. Since you're so stubborn, let's wait and see whose score is higher. Don't go crying when the time comes. Remember, my name is Zhao Yingji. Sure, I'm just afraid the one who'll be crying is you. Mo Yu said with a confident smile. With the system's help, he was very confident in his results. Mo Yu dared to say that if he claimed second place, no one would dare claim first. About half an hour later, the assessment results were finally released, and Mo Yu began searching for his name. Huh, strange, why isn't the top spot mine? After seeing the rankings, Mo Yu exclaimed. He was surprised to find that the first place was not him, but someone named Luo Han. Judging by the name, it should be a girl. Then Mo Yu continued searching for his name. It wasn't until he reached the bottom few that he saw his name. He had only scored a measly 30 points. Was this a joke? Even the middle-aged man Zhao Yingji, who had bet against him, scored 65 points. How could he, with the system, have only scored 30 points? How was that possible? But if the system wasn't wrong, then the only possibility was that the appraisal association had made a mistake. Ha ha ha, kid, you only scored 30 points. How embarrassing. Someone with 30-point material actually dared to come to the appraisal association to participate in the appraiser assessment. Kid, I admire your courage. Alright, enough nonsense. Give me the devil fruit, don't even think about welching on the deal. Zhao Yingji said with a smile, his face full of smugness. Thinking that he had gotten a devil fruit for free, he was ecstatic while simultaneously mocking Mo Yu's stupidity. Does anyone have any objections to their results? If there are no objections, then we will now begin. Wait, I have an objection. I don't accept this. Before the assistant examiner could finish, Mo Yu shouted to interrupt him, and his yell immediately drew everyone's attention. Oh. Hearing Mo Yu's voice, Li Qianqiu couldn't help but look toward the source. The moment he saw Mo Yu, Li Qianqiu recognized him as the examinee who had slept during the exam, and his expression instantly darkened. In his view, such an examinee with an improper attitude was not fit to become an appraiser, let alone question the results that they, the appraisers, had worked so hard to determine. Li Qianqiu looked at Mo Yu and snorted coldly. This examinee, what is it that you don't accept? I clearly identified the devil fruit ability, why did you only give me 30 points? Mo Yu demanded loudly, showing no respect for Li Qianqiu just because he was an intermediate appraiser. Giving me such a low score and still expecting respect. You must be dreaming. Others were shocked to see Mo Yu daring to confront Li Qianqiu directly. They glanced at Li Qianqiu nervously, fearing that he would get angry and vent his anger on them, while also looking at Mo Yu with a hint of dissatisfaction. HMPH. This is your paper, right? Take it. Li Qianqiu coldly picked up an exam paper and handed it to Mo Yu, and after Mo Yu took it, he confirmed it was indeed his own paper. This devil fruit has been repeatedly appraised by us, it is clearly a Logia-type mud fruit. But what did you write? Something like a special Paramesha-type mochi fruit, and that it can turn into mochi and perform elemental transformation. Everyone knows that devil fruits only come in zone type, Paramesha type, and Logia type. Where did you get this a special Paramesha type? And you even said it was a Paramesha type devil fruit, yet you claimed it could perform elemental transformation. Don't you know that only a Logia type devil fruit can perform elemental transformation? You don't even know this, yet you dare to come participate in the appraiser assessment. Aren't you embarrassed? Go back and read some more books. Li Qianqiu scolded Mo Yu loudly, feeling angry at his ignorance. After berating Mo Yu, Li Qianqiu was still panting heavily, clearly quite infuriated. Seeing this, the assistant examiner on the side hurriedly spoke up. President Li, don't lower yourself to the level of such an ignorant brat. Then, he glanced coldly at Mo Yu and shouted angrily, you ignorant brat, shut up. If you make President Li sick, can you bear the responsibility? Exactly, President Li is a treasure of humanity. If he gets sick from anger, you can't bear that responsibility. Whose brat is this? Just causing trouble here. That's right, if you're ignorant, just go home and read more books. Besides, it's just one exam, right? If you fail, just come back next time. Is there any need to cause a scene here? Exactly. Hearing the assistant examiner's words, the other examinees chimed in, but Moyu paid no attention to their complaints. They actually said it's a mud fruit. What the hell is this fruit? Is there such a fruit in Pirate King? However, mud does indeed have stickiness just like mochi. In a sense, the ability of the mud fruit is indeed very similar to the mochi fruit. I stand by my answer. Even senior appraisers can make mistakes. Besides, practice is the sole criterion for testing truth. I request a taste test. Moyu said, unwilling to give up. He believed the system would not be wrong. Practice is the sole criterion for testing truth. That statement actually sounds a bit like an appraiser. Alright then, since you insist on your answer, we will conduct a taste test. However, if we end up being right, you will have to compensate us with a devil fruit. You understand that, right? Li Qiancho calmed down and asked, looking at Mo Yu. I understand. Very good. Although your attitude is improper, I admire your courage in sticking to your answer in the face of authority. Li Qiancho nodded, and then the assistant examiner brought over an ordinary soldier and had him taste the mochi fruit, and the soldier took a bite of the mochi fruit. After seeing the soldier finish the fruit, Li Qiancho continued. Now, demonstrate your current strength. Yes. SSS's. When the soldier displayed his ability, everyone was dumbfounded. They saw the soldier's body had turned into white mochi, which he then used to shape his body into any form. Seeing this scene, Li Qiancho was instantly dumbfounded. Although this couldn't yet prove Mo Yu's answer was correct, it at least proved that the answer given by the appraisal association was wrong. Just by looking at the color, one could tell that the soldier hadn't produced mud, nor did he have the ability to produce mud. In other words, this was definitely not some mud fruit. How is this possible? How could it be like this? Li Qiancho said, dumbfounded. Seeing that the substance the soldier created was truly glutinous rice, he knew he was wrong, dead wrong. Mo Yu's appraisal result was correct, it really was the mochi fruit, not some mud fruit. What's going on? Isn't that a mud fruit? Why is it producing a bunch of white stuff? Is there white mud in this world? Ignorant. Is white mud like that? That is clearly glutinous rice. It's the mochi and rice cakes you eat all the time. It created glutinous rice, isn't that very similar to the mochi fruit Mo Yu mentioned? Could it be that his answer is the correct one? Does that even need to be asked? Mo Yu must be right. I didn't expect the appraisal association to actually make a mistake. Yeah, I was just mocking him earlier. I didn't expect his answer to be correct. After seeing the ability the soldier demonstrated, everyone knew it wasn't some mud fruit, but the mochi fruit. As for whether it was a Logia type or a Paramesha type, that went without saying, where in nature is there an element like glutinous rice? However, the fact that the soldier could freely perform elemental transformation was also true, overturning the conclusion that only Logia type devil fruit could perform elemental transformation. It was a Paramesha type devil fruit that could also perform elemental transformation. Using special Paramesha type to describe this fruit could not be more appropriate. Sigh, alright, no need to demonstrate anymore. Li Qiancho glanced at the soldier and let out a heavy sigh. Now, even if he didn't want to admit it, he had to. It was their appraisal association's answer that was wrong, and the answer given by Mo Yu, whom they had treated as an ignorant child, was the correct one. Thinking about how he had mocked Mo Yu's ignorance just moments ago, Li Qiancho's face turned pale and then flushed. If Mo Yu was ignorant, didn't that make them even more ignorant? Since the Dignified Appraisal Association had made a mistake in public, Li Qiancho felt deeply ashamed. He then walked up to Mo Yu, and the white-haired old man actually bowed deeply to Mo Yu in front of everyone. Sigh. Young friend Mo Yu, I am truly sorry for just now. Your answer was correct, and our answer was wrong. President Li, there is no need for this. Seeing Li Qiancho actually bowing to him, Mo Yu was startled. Of course, Mo Yu knew that Li Qiancho wasn't bowing to him, but to the truth. Since that's the case, does that mean I have passed the assessment? Of course. Young friend Mo Yu corrected our mistake, so of course you've passed the assessment. Furthermore, you dared to question the so-called authority, I truly admire you. Xiao Hu, change young friend Mo Yu's score to 100. He corrected our mistake, so he should be given the first place score. And issue the primary appraiser qualification certificate to young friend Mo Yu immediately. Yes, President. The deputy examiner known as Xiao Hu bowed and said, then couldn't help but look at Mo Yu with new respect. Who would have thought President Lee would actually bow to Mo Yu? He is worthy of being an intermediate appraiser, able to bend and stretch, and willing to bow to the truth. And he actually gave Mo Yu a score of 100. This Mo Yu is too amazing, right? Come to think of it, what is Mo Yu's background? With such amazing appraisal skills, why have I never heard of him? I don't know, I've never heard the name Mo Yu either. Looking at Mo Yu, everyone's eyes revealed surprise and envy. Surprise at Mo Yu's appraisal skills, and envy that Mo Yu could gain Li Qianzhou's recognition. And the most surprised of all was Zhao Yingji. Until just moments ago, he still felt the devil fruit was already in his grasp, yet now, it was he who had to give Mo Yu 500,000. This huge disparity was like falling from heaven to hell in an instant. Hand it over, right? At this moment, Mo Yu walked in front of Zhao Yingji with a smile and extended a hand toward him. At the same time, the surrounding people also looked at Zhao Yingji. The scene of Mo Yu and Zhao Yingji making the bet had been seen by many. Now it was time for Zhao Yingji to honor his promise. If he didn't, with so many people watching, he would definitely be the one to suffer social death. By then, he would be like a rat crossing the street, shouted at by everyone. This time, he had truly lifted a rock only to drop it on his own feet. HMPH. Take it. Zhao Yingji snorted coldly, then took out the bank card and threw it into Mo Yu's hand. Afterward, Zhao Yingji had no face to stay here any longer and left the appraisal association in a dejected manner. Here, young friend Mo Yu, this is your primary appraiser qualification certificate. At this moment, Li Qianzhou walked over, holding Mo Yu's primary appraiser qualification certificate, and personally handed it to Mo Yu. Then, he looked at Mo Yu with anticipation and said, young friend Mo Yu, I hope you can continue to work hard and enhance your appraisal skills. The future belongs to you young people. I will, President Lee. Saying this, Mo Yu took his primary appraiser qualification certificate and then left the appraisal association. This scene was seen by others, and they were all very envious. Being able to gain Li Qianzhou's recognition meant that Mo Yu's future achievements would not be low. After leaving the appraisal association, Mo Yu did not go home but went to another place, the Adventurers Association. Due to the invasion of monsters, the profession of adventurer was born. Their duty was to explore the monster forest, hunt monsters, and when a beast tide broke out, assist the city defense army in resisting the beast tide, serving as a kind of civilian guard. The Adventurers Association would often regularly release tasks for the adventurers within the association to claim. As long as a task was completed, one could receive a substantial reward, perhaps energy fluid, perhaps a devil fruit, or perhaps simply paper money. Only by becoming an adventurer could one claim tasks. Mo Yu was now going to become an adventurer and then claim tasks to make big money. Although Zhao Yingji lost 500,000 to him, that 500,000 wasn't even enough to buy a single devil fruit, and Mo Yu currently needed a large number of devil fruit to improve his strength. Moreover, most of the adventurers' tasks were related to monsters, so Mo Yu could also obtain demon energy by hunting monsters to improve his strength. Mo Yu walked into the lobby of the Adventurers Association and saw a long-haired miss wearing professional attire sitting at the counter in the lobby, helping others with their business. Mo Yu walked up to the long-haired miss and smiled, saying, Miss, hello, I would like to apply to become an adventurer. Seeing Mo Yu's youthful face, the long-haired miss couldn't help but let out a cry of surprise. After all, compared to the people here, Mo Yu was really too young. Mo Yu was only 17 years old, while the youngest person here was already 20. Little brother, are you sure you want to become an adventurer? Yeah, I'm sure. Mo Yu nodded and said. Alright then, you want to become a first-rank adventurer, right? Let me process that for you first. The long-haired miss smiled helplessly and said, but before she could finish, Mo Yu interrupted her. Not quite. I don't want to become a first-rank adventurer, I want to become a third-rank adventurer. Mo Yu smiled. Adventurer ranks were linked to the strength of an ability user. A first-rank adventurer meant having the strength of a first-tier ability user, while a third-rank adventurer possessed the combat power of a third-tier ability user. Third-rank adventurer. Little brother, you aren't joking with me, are you? It's not that I look down on you, it's just that how old are you, anyway? Can you really have the strength of a third-tier ability user? The long-haired miss frowned and asked, looking unconvinced. Miss, please just process it for me. I'm confident. Alright then, but I must warn you, the adventurer assessment is no joke. Even if it's just an assessment, there's a risk of life-threatening danger if you aren't careful. You must be extremely cautious and don't push yourself. Seeing Mo Yu's persistence, the long-haired miss didn't say anything more. She quickly processed the paperwork for Mo Yu, took out a slip of paper, handed it to him, and said, "Here you go. Walk straight ahead and you'll see the third rank adventurer assessment area. As long as you pass the assessment, you'll officially become a third rank adventurer." "I understand, thank you." Mo Yu smiled, then walked into the third rank adventurer assessment room. The room was large, resembling a gym, with a fighting ring in the middle, which was the assessment area. There weren't many people in the room, most were examiners, along with a few spectators. At this moment, Mo Yu saw a tall examiner beating up an examinee on the ring, who looked to be in his 20s. The examinee was clearly no match for the examiner and was quickly thrown out of the ring, signaling the end of the assessment. Fail. After throwing the young man in his 20s off the ring, the examiner said coldly, then continued, "Next, number 56. Who is number 56? It's me." As he spoke, Mo Yu slowly walked onto the ring. The number 56 examinee was indeed Mo Yu. Talk about perfect timing, he had arrived just in time for his turn. "You." The examiner glanced at Mo Yu, a flash of doubt in his eyes, and then said indifferently, "You should go back down, you're no match for me. What's going on? Can't the people handling the registration do their jobs? How did a kid get in here?" Hearing this, Mo Yu's expression darkened. Why did these people all look down on others? Then, Mo Yu said coldly, "I am examinee number 56. I'm here to take the third rank adventurer assessment. We haven't even started fighting yet, how do you know I can't do it? Haha, kid, do you think being a third rank adventurer is that easy? Someone like you, can you really have the strength of a third tier ability user? If you don't have the strength of a third tier ability user, don't come to take the third rank assessment. Otherwise, even if it's just an assessment, it's possible for you to lose your life." Hearing Mo Yu's words, the other examiners couldn't help but laugh mockingly. HMPH, regardless, how do you know I don't have the strength of a third tier ability user? Mo Yu smiled, and immediately, a powerful burst of Conqueror's Haki was instantly released into the surroundings. Whoosh! What is this? Such strong pressure. As Mo Yu released the Conqueror's Haki, those examiners all felt as if they had been attacked by a mental storm. Cold sweat broke out on their faces, their backs were soaked, and they felt as if they had just been stared at by the abyss. Even the examiner on the ring felt the same way. HMPH, you do have some strength. Alright then, I'll let you try. But I won't go easy on you just because you're a child. My name is Cao Zan. What's your name? Cao Zan said with an indifferent expression. My name is Mo Yu. Good. It's 3:30 p.m. now. As long as you can last on this ring for 10 minutes, you pass the assessment. But if you are knocked down by me or fall off the ring, the assessment is a failure. Do you understand? Then what if I knock you down? Mo Yu said confidently. After all, he now had the strength of a third-tier ability user. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha, you're killing me. That little brat actually said he's going to knock down Cao Zan. It's been a long time since I've heard such a joke. Ha ha ha, doesn't he know that Cao Zan is the strongest examiner we have here? Ha ha ha, that kid is in for a rude awakening. Hearing Mo Yu dare to speak so arrogantly, the other examiners couldn't help but burst into laughter, as if they could already see the scene of Mo Yu getting beaten up by Cao Zan shortly. HMPH. If you beat me, then you pass the assessment immediately. Cao Zan said with a cold snort. Alright, it's a deal. Now, the assessment begins. Make your move. Cao Zan announced the start of the assessment, but he didn't take Mo Yu seriously. Although Mo Yu had just released powerful Conqueror's Haki, it didn't necessarily mean Mo Yu's actual strength was also high. However, Cao Zan seemed to have never heard the saying that it's always the swimmers who drown, and that one should use their full strength even when hunting a rabbit. Underestimating Mo Yu destined Cao Zan to suffer a huge loss. Seeing Cao Zan underestimate him, Mo Yu didn't get angry. Or rather, this was exactly the result he wanted, because this was his opportunity. Mo Yu wanted to land a killing blow while Cao Zan lowered his guard. Then I won't hold back. Shave. Mo Yu used Shave, one of the 6 powers, with extreme speed. In the blink of an eye, Mo Yu had reached Cao Zan. Then, both his hands immediately coated with powerful armament Haki, and he threw a punch at Cao Zan's face. What? Seeing Mo Yu's punch coming, Cao Zan's expression changed. He cursed himself for being careless. However, his strength as a third-tier ability user allowed him to react quickly, and he hurriedly blocked in front of himself with his arms to defend against Mo Yu's punch. Boom, boom, boom. Cao Zan wasn't slow either, managing to block with his arms in time. If he had been any slower, Mo Yu's punch would likely have landed squarely on his face. Even so, Cao Zan was severely injured. He never expected that Mo Yu would not only be fast but also possess such immense strength. After all, Mo Yu had consumed the ox fruit and the scythe fruit, and had upgraded his armament haki to the third tier, increasing his strength significantly. Even though Cao Zhan was a third-tier ability user, the force behind Mo Yu's punch wasn't something he could easily block. Cough, cough, I really underestimated you. I never expected that not only would you have such speed, but your strength would also be so astonishing. Cao Zhan said, still shaken. Mo Yu's speed just now had truly given him a huge fright. Hehe, it's not over yet. Tempest kick. Having landed one hit, Mo Yu naturally would not miss such a good opportunity. He immediately followed up by kicking out a tempest kick, and a high-speed slash instantly landed on Cao Zhan's body. At such close range, Cao Zhan could not even dodge. With a squelch, a wound appeared on Cao Zhan's abdomen, and blood immediately began to flow out. What? Feeling the pain in his abdomen, Cao Zhan cried out in surprise. Under the impact of the tempest kick, Cao Zhan's body could not help but retreat backward, nearly falling off the arena. Phew, that was close. Seeing that he had not fallen off the arena, Cao Zhan finally breathed a sigh of relief. However, he no longer dared to underestimate Mo Yu and began to treat Mo Yu as a true opponent. HMPH, kid, I admit you are strong, so I will have to bring out my true strength. As he spoke, Cao Zhan's skin turned yellow with black stripes, a long cat tail grew out from behind him, and sharp claws and teeth sprouted as well. Cao Zhan's devil fruit was precisely the zone type, cat fruit, ordinary model, tiger form, which allowed the user to possess the powerful strength and speed of a tiger. After transforming into his hybrid form, Cao Zhan's strength and physique became much stronger. Now it's my turn. Cao Zhan kicked his legs backward, and relying on the powerful recoil, his speed instantly increased several times over as he charged toward Mo Yu, exposing his sharp claws to attack him. HMPH, I was waiting for this. Seeing Cao Zhan charge over, Mo Yu smiled slightly. Relying on observation haki, Cao Zhan's movements were all within Mo Yu's control. Seeing Cao Zhan charging, Mo Yu promptly dodged to the side, then used shave to circle behind Cao Zhan. Armament haki. 5-finger pistol. After circling behind Cao Zhan, Mo Yu coated his hands with Conqueror's haki and unleashed finger pistol. 5-finger pistol was a derivative technique Mo Yu created based on finger pistol. As the name implied, 5-finger pistol used 5 fingers, with each finger possessing the impact and piercing power of a finger pistol. Paired with armament haki, his 2 arms were like 2 long spears. His arms, coated in armament haki, thrust fiercely into Cao Zhan's back like daggers. Arg! 2 huge wounds appeared on Cao Zhan's back, and blood flowed out continuously, causing Cao Zhan to scream in agony. HMPH, I didn't expect your martial arts to be so strong too. Although injured, thanks to the powerful vitality granted by his devil fruit, Cao Zhan was not in serious trouble and could even continue fighting. But I'm not a pushover either. Black Tiger steals the heart. Cao Zhan quickly turned around and lunged at Mo Yu again, swiping a claw toward his heart. Well done. Seeing Cao Zhan charge over, Mo Yu did not dodge, letting him attack while secretly using armament haki and iron body to increase his defense. Bang! Cao Zhan's tiger claw struck Mo Yu's body, producing a crisp sound. Cao Zhan felt as if he had grabbed onto a piece of hard steel. He could not break through the defense at all, which left him completely dumbfounded. One sword style. Half moon slash. Mo Yu instantly drew the ink plum from his waist, coated it with armament haki, and swung it toward Cao Zhan. Mo Yu's speed was extremely fast, even Cao Zhan could not react in time. Furthermore, the moment Mo Yu drew the ink plum, Cao Zhan felt his strength rapidly draining away. Even if he wanted to dodge, he could not. He could only watch helplessly as Mo Yu's sword thrust toward him. Whoosh! Hearing a gust of sword wind, Mo Yu's ink plum stopped right next to Cao Zhan's head. Even so, the sword aura of the ink plum still gave Cao Zhan a huge fright. Examiner Cao, you lost. Mo Yu said with a smile. He did not dare to actually kill Cao Zhan, otherwise, the other examiners nearby would not let him off. Indeed, I lost. Thank you for showing mercy. I didn't expect your strength to be so great. Truly, heroes come from the youth. Congratulations on passing the assessment and becoming a third-rank adventurer. Cao Zhan, having had a brush with death, breathed a sigh of relief seeing Mo Yu show mercy, and simultaneously announced that Mo Yu had passed the assessment and officially become a third-rank adventurer. I didn't expect this Mo Yu to be so formidable, he almost killed Cao Zhan. Indeed. Don't forget that Cao Zhan is the strongest among us. If he could defeat Cao Zhan in such a short time, it means we are no match for him either. But with Cao Zhan's speed, he clearly could have dodged that sword strike just now, right? Why didn't he? It's not that he didn't want to dodge, but he couldn't. That sword of Mo Yu's has an issue, it seems to be able to restrict an ability user's abilities. At this moment, someone with a sharp eye noticed the peculiarity of the ink plum. Restrict an ability user's abilities. Could it be? That's right, it's Demon Steel. Demon Steel was definitely added to that sword, and since it could restrict a third-tier ability user, the content of Demon Steel must not be low. If that's really the case, that's truly a fine sword. Hearing you guys say that, I'm envious. Guessing that the ink plum might be a weapon containing Demon Steel, even the examiners were green with envy. In this world, Demon Steel is equivalent to the Sea Stone in the original Pirate King, capable of restricting an ability user's abilities, and it is also the only way to deal with a Logia Devil Fruit user. Therefore, every Demon Steel weapon is a legendary artifact, coveted by people all over the world. It's no wonder those examiners all looked at the ink plum with greed. This is your adventurer identification, keep it safe. After being defeated by Mo Yu, Cao Zhan helped Mo Yu apply for his third-rank adventurer identification and placed it into Mo Yu's hands. Thank you, Examiner Cao. You're welcome. Who knows, maybe we'll be colleagues in the future. Cao Zhan said with a wry smile. Being defeated by a child who hadn't even reached adulthood left Cao Zhan feeling ashamed. Was Mo Yu just too monstrous, or had he become weaker? Cao Zhan could not stop thinking about this question. Speaking of which, your sword is very special, it's my first time seeing such a sword. The moment you drew that sword, I felt weak all over and could not even move. Could that be a Demon Steel weapon? Thinking of Mo Yu's final strike, Cao Zhan could not help but ask in confusion. Cao Zhan believed it definitely wasn't his own fault, so it must have been the reason for the sword in Mo Yu's hand. That's right, it is a Demon Steel weapon, Mo Yu nodded and admitted. So that's how it is. Having a Demon Steel weapon, no wonder you are so formidable. I'm starting to get envious of you. Cao Zhan said with a bitter smile, which served as an excuse for his failure. Then, Cao Zhan led Mo Yu to the hall at the entrance and explained to him. This is the place to accept missions. You can speak to the people at the counter. Missions are divided into 1 to 10 stars based on difficulty, with 1 star being the lowest and 10 stars the highest, corresponding to the adventurer's rank. The higher the difficulty, the higher the reward. You can accept missions yourself now. Understood, thank you, Examiner Cao. Mo Yu nodded to express his thanks, but he did not accept any missions right now. It was already late, and it was best not to go to the monster forest late at night. Even though Mo Yu's strength had increased, he still dared not easily venture into the monster forest. It's alright. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. After saying this, Cao Zhan left the area, leaving Mo Yu to look around on his own. Hee, little brother, you are so amazing. You actually really became a third-rank adventurer. You are the youngest third-rank adventurer I have ever seen. At this moment, the long-haired miss at the counter saw Mo Yu coming out with Cao Zhan. Although she found it hard to believe, she had to admit that Mo Yu had succeeded. He had truly defeated Cao Zhan and become a third-rank adventurer. In the future, if you want to accept any missions, just tell me. I will definitely save the highest-paying missions for you. Also, if you need any help, you can come and find me. The long-haired miss gave a playful smile and winked slightly at Mo Yu, as if she were seducing him into committing a crime. Those bright, watery eyes blinked repeatedly, looking very pretty, and Mo Yu couldn't help but blush as he stared at the young lady's pretty face for a while. Having lived 2 lifetimes, this was the first time Mo Yu had been actively hit on by a girl, and a great beauty at that. However, Mo Yu quickly shook his head vigorously, forcing himself to calm down. Now was not the time to be thinking about such things. What was most important right now was to become stronger and stronger, and to constantly improve his strength. Although he already possessed the combat power of a third-tier ability user, this amount of strength was not even enough to protect himself in this world where the weak are prey to the strong. Alright, thank you, miss. I have some other business, so I'll be going now. Mo Yu left in a fluster. He was no saint, nor was he Lu Shui. As the saying goes, even a hero finds it hard to resist the charms of a beauty. If he stayed any longer, Mo Yu was truly afraid that his soul would be snatched away by this charming young lady. PFF'd. Seeing Mo Yu's flustered, disoriented appearance, the long-haired miss couldn't help but smile, thinking to herself, so, this kid is still a novice. After leaving the Adventurers Association, Mo Yu arrived on the main street. He first went to the bank and withdrew the 500,000 from Zhao Yingji's bank card. Looking at the 500,000 in front of him, Mo Yu couldn't help but feel his heart race. Having lived 2 lifetimes, this was the first time he had seen so much money. However, Mo Yu also believed that this was just the beginning. With the status of a junior appraiser and a third-rank adventurer, Mo Yu would become wealthier and stronger in the future. Now that he had 500,000 in his hands, Mo Yu was incredibly excited. Since it happened to be dinner time, Mo Yu didn't go home to cook. Instead, he took the rare opportunity to go to a high-end restaurant and eat a grand meal, tasting all the delicacies he hadn't eaten before as well as the local specialties of this world. Only after eating his fill did he return home. Now, Mo Yu finally understood what it meant to enjoy spending money, and that spending money continuously is a continuous joy. On the other side, after afternoon classes ended, Luo Xinyan returned home, holding a small mirror and looking at it incessantly. She kept giggling, giving the impression of a little fool. She even looked in the mirror while crossing the road, nearly getting hit by a car several times. It wasn't until she reached her doorstep that Luo Xinyan finally put down the mirror and opened the door. Huh, you, who are you? As soon as she entered, a middle-aged woman couldn't help but exclaim in surprise upon seeing such a beautiful girl. This woman was Luo Xinyan's mother, Zhang Jing. Even though she was Luo Xinyan's mother, at this moment, she couldn't recognize her daughter, who had become so beautiful. However, even though she didn't recognize Luo Xinyan at first, the moment she saw her, Zhang Jing felt a sense of familiarity. Hee, Mom, it's me. I'm Xinyan. Don't you recognize me anymore? Seeing her mother's surprised expression, Luo Xinyan couldn't help but say with a smile. Xinyan. You are Xinyan. Come in, hurry, come in. How did you become so beautiful? Upon hearing that the person who arrived was her daughter, Zhang Jing asked in pleasant surprise and quickly pulled her daughter into the house. Tell me quickly, Xinyan, how did you become like this? You didn't get plastic surgery, did you? Zhang Jing asked with a slight frown, fearing that Luo Xinyan had spent money recklessly. Their family was not wealthy. Luo Xinyan's father had died in a car accident, and now Zhang Jing was the pillar of the family, while also raising 2 children. Therefore, although she knew that the scar on Luo Xinyan's face was unsightly and that her daughter was always ostracized and isolated by other classmates at school, she had no way to help. Even though she knew her daughter felt aggrieved, for the sake of this family, she had to let her daughter suffer a bit longer. Hee, Mom, I know what you're worried about. Don't worry, I didn't spend money recklessly. Instead, someone gave me a devil fruit. What? Someone gave you a devil fruit? Who gave it to you? You didn't agree to any conditions, did you? Before Luo Xinyan could finish, Zhang Jing asked anxiously. A devil fruit was something worth millions, it wasn't just something one gave away as a gift. Therefore, Zhang Jing was afraid that her daughter had been deceived, worried that the devil fruit she obtained came with conditions, such as being forced to be that person's girlfriend or even marrying that person. No, it's not like that. Mom, listen to me finish. This devil fruit was given to me by Mo Yu. He's my deskmate, remember? You even talked to him during the last parent-teacher meeting. He was lucky enough to obtain a hockey fruit, and now his strength is super strong. Yesterday, there was a beast-tide outbreak in the monster forest, you know, right? Mo Yu is someone who managed to survive the beast tide. Just imagine how powerful he is. Not only is he powerful, but he is also super nice. To thank me for always bringing him breakfast, he specifically gave me the devil fruit he found in the monster forest. This is a healing fruit, which can cure any injury or illness. From now on, I am a devil fruit user, and I can protect you and my sister. Hee. Luo Xinyan said with a smile, but when she mentioned Mo Yu, she couldn't help but blush. Phew, so that's how it is. So it was your deskmate who gave it to you. I've met that child, he has a good personality and didn't shun you because of the scar on your face. This time, he even gave you a devil fruit, he has really done our family a huge favor. Zhang Jing breathed a sigh of relief and said with a smile. Zhang Jing had lived for over 30 years and had seen all kinds of ups and downs. Seeing Luo Xinyan's blushing appearance, she knew that her daughter had someone she liked, and it was most likely that Mo Yu. Zhang Jing was not opposed to her daughter dating. If possible, she even wanted her daughter to boldly pursue Mo Yu, she just hoped that Mo Yu wouldn't mind Luo Xinyan. With a creak, the door opened, and a girl who looked extremely similar to Luo Xinyan walked in from outside. Mom, Xinyan, I'm home. Oh, sister, you're back. I heard you went for the devil fruit appraiser examination today. How was it? Did you pass? Seeing the girl, Luo Xinyan couldn't help but ask with a smile. Hee, isn't that obvious? Who do you think your sister is? I am Luo Han, after all. How could such a simple devil fruit appraiser examination stump me? If Mo Yu were here now, he would definitely recognize this girl as the runner-up of today's devil fruit appraiser examination, Luo Han. It turned out she was actually Luo Xinyan's sister. You Xinyan. Why have you become so beautiful? And the scar on your face has disappeared. Because Luo Han had been changing her slippers as soon as she walked in, she hadn't noticed the more beautiful Luo Xinyan. However, when she looked up, she was shocked by Luo Xinyan's beauty. The current Luo Xinyan was like a completely different person compared to before. If the previous Luo Xinyan was somewhat unattractive, then the current Luo Xinyan was a peerless beauty. Hee, sister, I obtained a devil fruit. As she spoke, Luo Xinyan told Luo Han about Mo Yu giving her the devil fruit. After listening, Luo Han was genuinely happy for her sister becoming a devil fruit user, and simultaneously felt grateful to Mo Yu in her heart. Wait a second, Mo Yu, why is that name so familiar? Hearing the name Mo Yu, Luo Han couldn't help but frown slightly. After a long while, she finally remembered. Oh, I remember now. I was the runner-up in today's Devil Fruit Appraiser examination, and the first place was also a boy named Mo Yu. He looked quite young, only about 10 years old or so, about the same age as you. Moreover, he is an excellent Devil Fruit Appraiser. He actually correctly identified a devil fruit that the Appraisal Association had misidentified. He even dared to question Chairman Li Qiancho to his face. He's a little genius. As she spoke, Luo Han recounted the events of the Devil Fruit Appraiser examination to Luo Xinyan. Mo Yu went to participate in the Devil Fruit Appraiser examination this afternoon. The one you saw must be my deskmate. Luo Xinyan still remembered that before leaving at noon, Mo Yu had asked her to ask the teacher for leave, saying that he was going to participate in the Devil Fruit Appraiser examination. Haha, if that's really the case, then your deskmate is truly a little genius, Luo Han said with a smile. Alright. Today, Han Han became a junior Devil Fruit Appraiser. Xinyan, you became a Devil Fruit user, and the scar on your face disappeared. It's a double celebration. Let's celebrate properly, shall we? At this moment, Zhang Jing suggested with a smile, which was quickly agreed upon by both girls. Yay! We really should celebrate, haha. Thus, this family had a rare moment of luxury, eating all the food they usually couldn't afford. At this very moment, both Mo Yu and Luo Xinyan were excitedly celebrating their respective fortuitous encounters, and both stayed up until dawn. May 6th, this was Mo Yu's fourth day in this world, and there was exactly 1 month left until the college entrance examination. As for this world's college entrance examination, Mo Yu didn't care. With armament hockey, even a Logia Devil Fruit user would be easily handled by him. Now, what he needed most was money and devil fruits. With money, he could buy devil fruits. With devil fruits, Mo Yu could become stronger. Becoming stronger meant he could accept more difficult missions, get more money, and thus form a cycle of sustainable development. Therefore, starting today, Mo Yu decided to accept missions to earn money. As for school classes, it wouldn't matter if he skipped them all. Almost all classes now were self-study sessions preparing for the college entrance examination. As long as he did well on the college entrance examination, he could do whatever he wanted now. So Mo Yu didn't even think twice about skipping class, while also asking Luo Xinyan to help him ask for leave. However, for some reason, Mo Yu always felt that Luo Xinyan's gaze towards him today was strange, but Mo Yu couldn't say what was strange about it. It was just that the breakfast Luo Xinyan brought him today was much richer than usual. Usually, Luo Xinyan only brought Mo Yu a few various small breads. But today, she brought Mo Yu pancakes and egg-stuffed pancakes. When she heard that Mo Yu was planning to go to the Adventurers Association to accept missions, she even gave Mo Yu the lunch she made herself. She also kindly said, "Good luck. You must be careful." This feeling was like a virtuous wife serving her husband, making it seem like they were a couple. However, Mo Yu didn't pay it any mind and arrived at the Adventurers Association early in the morning. Little brother, you're here. Are you here to accept a mission? Early in the morning, the long-haired miss was already at work, arriving even earlier than Mo Yu. Seeing Mo Yu arrive, the long-haired miss flashed a charming smile again, as if she were deliberately seducing Mo Yu. Yes, miss, you came so early. Seeing that the long-haired miss had already arrived, Mo Yu also responded with a smile. That's right, we have to come early in the morning. By the way, little brother, you don't know my name yet, right? This sister is called Zhang Tian. Just call me Sister Tian, Zhang Tian introduced herself. Okay, Sister Tian, I'm here to accept a mission. Do you have any missions suitable for me? Mo Yu didn't have time to flirt with Zhang Tian and got straight to the point. Let me look. Zhang Tian smiled and said, then called up all the missions and projected them onto the big screen. Little brother, take a look yourself. I don't know which mission is most suitable for you. You can choose for yourself. Mo Yu took a look at the missions on the big screen. The lowest was 1 star, and the highest was 5 star. Seeing this, a trace of doubt couldn't help but appear in Mo Yu's eyes. Sister Tian, aren't the most difficult missions 10-star missions? Why aren't there any missions above 5 stars here? Hehe, that's because this is only a branch of the Adventurers Association. The truly high difficulty missions are all at the Adventurers Association headquarters located in the Imperial capital, and the most difficult missions at the branch are only 5-star missions. And I don't suggest you accept 5-star missions so early. Those are missions that only rank 5 adventurers can accept. If you accept them, little brother, you will be in danger of losing your life. I suggest you currently choose a few from the 1-star to 3-star missions to get familiar with the process. Zhang Tian suggested with a sincere look, and after listening, Mo Yu nodded. That makes sense. Then, looking at the mission list again, there were many types of missions, but without exception, they were all related to monsters, things like driving away or hunting monsters, or perhaps monster fur and corpses. There were also some searching for devil fruits. And the rewards for the missions also increased with the difficulty. 1-star missions were only a few $100s, 2-star missions were about $1,000, 3-star missions were several thousand, and for 4-star missions, the lowest reward was $30,000. Alright then, Sister Tian, I'll take all the 3-star missions. What? All the 3-star missions? Little brother, tell me the truth, are you joking with Sister Tian? There are dozens of 3-star missions here. After hearing Mo Yu's words, Zhang Tian was shocked once again, and then said earnestly. Little brother, let me warn you first, missions have time limits. If you haven't returned to submit the mission after 1 week, it counts as a failure. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. Mo Yu nodded, but he was confident in his own strength. Moreover, the experiences of slaying the blood flame tiger and defeating Cao Zhan made him very confident in his abilities. Alright then, since you insist, I won't force you. But I must remind you to be extremely careful. It doesn't matter if you fail a mission, you can always accept it again. But if you lose your life, then everything is over. Do you understand? Sister Tian felt an instant connection with you, and I certainly don't want to lose a 3rd-rank adventurer friend so soon. To be honest, Big Sister is still waiting for you to help me in the future. Zhang Tian smiled, then printed the 3-star missions on a sheet of paper and handed it to Mo Yu. Rest assured, I have confidence. Mo Yu smiled confidently, then took the mission list and turned to leave. What an interesting little guy. Watching Mo Yu's departing back, Zhang Tian said with a smile. The first mission, is it to drive away the Gale Wolf from the ancient city pasture? Mo Yu glanced at the content of the first mission, it was to drive away Gale Wolf. Although Gale Wolf are only 2nd-rank demonic beasts, they are gregarious creatures, seeing one means there are already many more nearby. The ancient city pasture is located on the grasslands on the outskirts of the ancient city, where the grass is abundant, suitable for the development of animal husbandry. Furthermore, the ancient city pasture is also the main source of meat for the ancient city. After all, it is impossible to transport all supplies from the imperial capital, the ancient city still needs to be self-sufficient. After about half an hour by car, Mo Yu finally arrived at the ancient city pasture and met the person in charge here, Elder Zhao. Elder Zhao was not a high-ranking official, but just an ordinary farmer who was elected as the manager of the ancient city pasture because of his expertise in animal husbandry. Moreover, he was kind and amiable, so everyone respectfully called him, Elder Zhao. The mission has been posted for over a month, and someone has finally accepted it. I just didn't expect the person who came to be such a young man. Truly, heroes emerge from the youth. Seeing Mo Yu arrive, Elder Zhao came over to welcome him with a smile. Elder Zhao, where is that pack of Gale Wolf? Mo Yu asked straightforwardly. He just wanted to quickly deal with those Gale Wolf, he was even more anxious than Elder Zhao. That wasn't just a pack of Gale Wolf, that was a walking pile of gold coins. Sigh, the number of that pack of Gale Wolf is about over 100, and they come here to forage almost every day. Elder Zhao sighed deeply and said. Just this past month, over 1,000 of our cattle and sheep have been eaten by them. However, thanks to the walls, there have been no casualties. Of course, we have also organized people to counterattack, but unfortunately, this pack of Gale Wolf is very cunning. Once they encounter resistance, they immediately retreat. They are very fast, and we simply cannot catch up to them. We can only watch helplessly as they ravage our cattle and sheep. So that's how it is. Mo Yu nodded, pondering how to deal with this pack of cunning Gale Wolf. Awoo! Awoo! Just then, Mo Yu suddenly heard a series of wolf howls. Upon hearing these howls, Elder Zhao and the others changed color, Clearly, that pack of Gale Wolf had arrived. From a distance, Mo Yu could see a large pack of wolves running toward this place in a massive wave. The physique of the Gale Wolf is similar to that of an ordinary gray wolf, but their running speed is faster than an ordinary gray wolf. And as introduced in the Monster Illustrated Guide, Gale Wolf are gregarious creatures. Seeing the first one means there are already many nearby. Just the Gale Wolf Mo Yu saw before him already numbered over 100. HMPH. They're here. Then leave it to me. Mo Yu said confidently, then walked toward the Gale Wolf. A single Gale Wolf is only a second-ranked demonic beast and is no match for Mo Yu, but one had to worry about over 100 Gale Wolf joining forces. Awoo! Awoo! Upon seeing Mo Yu, this pack of Gale Wolf bared their sharp fangs, quickened their pace, and drooled from their mouths. Without using Conqueror's Haki, Mo Yu was just like an ordinary person, so the Gale Wolf did not perceive any threat from him at all, thinking Mo Yu was just an ordinary person. To demonic beasts, human flesh is the most delicious thing in the world, far better than any beef or mutton. Therefore, the speed of the Gale Wolf increased significantly, as they all wanted to be the first to eat the meat. He, welcome, Conqueror's Haki. Just when the leading Gale Wolf was less than half a meter away from Mo Yu suddenly unleashed Conqueror's Haki. Buzz, buzz, buzz. A mental storm was instantly released, and the aura on Mo Yu's body reached the level of a third-tier ability user in an instant. Awoo! The aura on Mo Yu's body changed abruptly. The 100-plus Gale Wolf were all startled, realizing that Mo Yu was playing the pig to eat the tiger. They hurriedly turned around to flee, but how could Mo Yu let them go so easily? Want to run? No way. One sword style. Ink Sun. Mo Yu drew Ink Plum and directly unleashed his strongest move to date. Ink Plum instantly released a dense black aura, and then that black aura transformed into a huge slash, attacking the Gale Wolf. Awoo! When the black aura passed over the Gale Wolf pack, all the Gale Wolf let out painful screams and then died completely. When the black aura dissipated, all that remained were wolf corpses cut into pieces. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully slaying a second-ranked demonic beast Gale Wolf, gaining 102 points of demon energy. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully slaying a second-ranked demonic beast Gale Wolf, gaining 113 points of demon energy. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully slaying a third-ranked demonic beast Gale Wolf King, gaining 1253 points of demon energy. Slaying over 100 second-ranked demonic beasts and one third-ranked demonic beast in one go, Mo Yu's demon energy instantly exceeded 15,000. And Mo Yu also timely used that 15,000 demon energy to upgrade his observation haki. At this moment, Mo Yu's strength was even stronger. What a formidable young man. To be so young and yet possess such terrifying strength, it's truly frightening. Seeing that Mo Yu had solved all the Gale Wolf with a single blow, Elder Zhao could not help but sigh with emotion. Little friend Mo Yu is truly formidable, worthy of being a third-tier ability user. To resolve this pack of Gale Wolves so easily, truly, heroes emerge from the young. Seeing Mo Yu easily resolve the Gale Wolves that had given them headaches for over a month, Old Zhao was beaming with joy while also feeling deeply emotional. If only all young people could be as strong as Mo Yu, how good would that be? Old Zhao, since the Gale Wolves have been dealt with, I will be leaving now. Little friend Mo Yu, are you leaving so soon? We were all planning to invite you to a meal to properly thank you. Seeing Mo Yu leave so quickly, Old Zhao was surprised and couldn't help but ask him to stay. No, thank you for your kind invitation, but I have other tasks to attend to. I won't stay any longer. Farewell. Mo Yu politely declined Old Zhao's warm invitation. He had accepted dozens of 3-star tasks all at once, and these tasks all had to be completed within a week, so his time was very tight. Without waiting for Old Zhao to speak further, Mo Yu had already departed. Given Mo Yu's speed, Old Zhao and the other elderly people couldn't possibly catch up to him. Over the next few days, Mo Yu worked day and night to complete these 3-star tasks. Apart from sleeping, he hardly stopped to rest. Even when eating, he would just buy a few loaves of bread and eat while walking. During these past few days, he had also taken care of quite a few monsters, and his demon energy had exceeded 100,000. Mo Yu directly allocated the demon energy into his Conqueror's Haki, 6 powers, and swordsmanship. Thus, he was now a true third-tier ability user. Once he had upgraded both his Haki and physical techniques to the 3rd tier, Mo Yu felt a significant improvement in his strength, and his speed in completing tasks also increased. 4 days passed like this. There were only 2 days left before he had to return to submit his tasks, and now, only one task remained for Mo Yu. This should be the last task, right? As he spoke, Mo Yu looked at the task list Zhang Tian had given him. It stated that the final task was to hunt an ice soul python with peak 3rd tier strength and bring back its magic core. It was said that this magic core had great research value. I really don't know what research value a magic core could have. Who doesn't know that the magic core is where the essence of a monster resides? The only use for a magic core is to be made into energy fluid for ability users to cultivate. Claiming it has great research value is pure nonsense. But it seems I'll have to find a way to keep the magic core this time. Mo Yu curled his lips helplessly. Previously, when hunting monsters, the system would automatically extract the demon energy from within the monster, but this time, he couldn't let it absorb it. Since the client specifically requested this magic core, they would certainly inspect it. If they discovered that this magic core didn't have a shred of demon energy, they would definitely accuse Mo Yu of cheating them and withhold the reward. The reward for this task was the highest among all the 3-star tasks, a full 1 million. In other words, as long as he brought back the Ice Soul Python's magic core intact, Mo Yu would receive 1 million. This was the reason Mo Yu didn't want to give up on this task. 1 million could even buy 1 or 2 devil fruits. For the current monsters, this was undoubtedly a huge sum. Then let's go, although I didn't expect to have to go to the monster forest again. With that, Mo Yu headed toward the monster forest. The monster forest was an incredibly vast forest, spanning over 20 million square kilometers. It was enormous. 1,000 years ago, due to the fusion of Blue Star and the Demon Plane, monsters invaded Blue Star on a massive scale, and many countries perished because of the monster invasion. Humanity was left with fewer than 500 million people. At the same time, 90% of the land and all the oceans were lost. The lost land became the monsters' territory, where plants grew and transformed into the monster forest, which is why the area of the monster forest is so vast. After arriving at the monster forest, Mo Yu began searching for traces of the Ice Soul Python. During this time, he encountered quite a few low-tier monsters. Although these monsters were weak, even a mosquito's leg is meat. Although hunting these monsters to gain demon energy was a drop in the bucket for Mo Yu now, he did not let them go. With a series of crackle, crackle, crackle sounds, these monsters died one after another under Mo Yu's sword. Just like that, Mo Yu hunted monsters while searching for traces of the Ice Soul Python. However, until 9:30 p.m., he hadn't even seen a shadow of the Ice Soul Python. Looking at the sky with the bright moon overhead, Mo Yu muttered to himself, "Is it already this late? It seems I won't find the Ice Soul Python today. I'd better rest first and continue searching tomorrow." The monster forest at night was more than 10 times more dangerous than during the day, as many monsters would come out to forage at night. During the day, because of the sunlight, one could see them. But at night, the forest was pitch black, and nothing could be seen clearly, making it very easy to be ambushed by monsters, which is why the night was so dangerous. Although Mo Yu, having awakened observation haki, didn't need to worry about monster ambushes, he still dared not venture deep into the forest alone at night. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Just as Mo Yu was preparing to lie down under a tree to sleep, a hissing sound suddenly came from nearby, and he could also hear the sound of dry leaves being crushed. Mo Yu could feel that something was approaching him. Mo Yu looked in the direction the sound came from and saw 2 large green light bulbs floating in front of him. Of course, Mo Yu didn't believe they were light bulbs, they were definitely the glowing eyes of a monster. Therefore, Mo Yu hurriedly released his observation haki, wanting to see exactly what kind of monster this was. After seeing the monster clearly, Mo Yu exclaimed in shock, "What a huge snake. This must be the Ice Soul Python, right?" After releasing his observation haki, Mo Yu suddenly saw a large snake over 10 meters long and 2 meters wide. The large snake had ice blue snake skin, with tiny ice crystals on it. A pair of dark green eyes were emitting a faint glow as they stared at Mo Yu, its snake tongue flicking in and out. It really is the Ice Soul Python. Seeing this large blue python, Mo Yu recognized it at a glance. This was his prey, the Ice Soul Python. The Ice Soul Python had peak 3rd tier strength. Even Mo Yu dared not underestimate it, so he immediately drew his ink plum and brought out his strongest power to deal with it. Roar, roar, roar. Looking at the ink plum in Mo Yu's hand, the Ice Soul Python seemed to feel a hint of threat. It immediately let out a loud roar and opened its blood-red maw. That terrifying maw was like a horrifying black hole, generating a powerful suction force that sucked in all the surrounding leaves. Mo Yu also exerted all his strength to steady his body, only then managing not to be sucked in. Roar, roar. At this moment, the Ice Soul Python's suction force became even greater, as if it were determined to swallow Mo Yu into its stomach. Under this powerful suction, even Mo Yu found his body constantly being pulled toward the Ice Soul Python. However, at this moment, Moyu stopped resisting and instead accelerated, rushing toward the ice soul python's body. Shave. With a burst of speed, Moyu instantly arrived in front of the ice soul python and thrust his sword out fiercely. One sword style. Half moon slash. In an instant, a fierce sword energy was slashed out. Like a sharp knife through butter, ink plum passed directly through the ice soul python's head, actually slicing its massive cranium in two. Seeing this, Moyu couldn't help but be slightly surprised. The ice soul python was a peak third-tier demonic beast. Could it really be killed so easily? Besides, he hadn't even used armament haki for that strike just now. Moyu didn't dare to be careless. He hurriedly retreated to keep his distance from the ice soul python, his eyes fixed intently on its corpse, fearing the beast might be up to some trick. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Seeing that it couldn't fool Moyu, the ice soul python simply stopped pretending. The head that had been sliced in two by Moyu suddenly turned into a ball of snow, before transforming back into the ice soul python's terrifying head. Seeing this, Moyu muttered to himself, a Logia type, snow fruit. The ice soul python's body had turned into snow just now. This was undoubtedly an elemental transformation, the power of a Logia type devil fruit. Clearly, the ice soul python had consumed the Logia type snow fruit and gained the ability to control ice and snow. I finally understand why they say the magic core of this ice soul python is so valuable for research. It's my first time seeing a demonic beast that has eaten a devil fruit, and a rare Logia type devil fruit at that. Watching the ice soul python return to its original form, Moyu's expression grew increasingly grave. The ice soul python was already a peak third-tier demonic beast, and now with the snow fruit, its strength was undoubtedly even greater. Moyu could not afford to be careless. HMPH, then let me show you my armament haki. The ink plum in Moyu's hand emitted a burst of black aura, that was armament haki. The haki made the already pitch-black ink plum even darker, as if it had merged into the darkness. Ordinary people wouldn't even be able to see that Moyu was holding a sword at this moment. One sword style. Iaido slash. Moyu launched another attack, using shave in combination with his swordsmanship. His body turned into a streak of light as he rushed toward the ice soul python, then pierced its body with a single strike. Roar, roar, roar. The ice soul python let out a sudden wail of pain. It had performed an elemental transformation just now, but it hadn't expected Moyu's armament haki to specifically counter the elemental transformation of Logia-type fruits, causing it to be wounded by carelessness. However, the ice soul python had thick skin and flesh. Even after being stabbed by Moyu, it wouldn't die so easily. Instead, it was enraged by the injury, its snake eyes fixed intently on Moyu, as if it wanted to swallow him whole. Again. One sword style. Storm cut. Moyu swung his sword at the ice soul python again, but this time, the ice soul python had clearly learned its lesson. Seeing Moyu attack, it dodged quickly. Despite its massive size, the ice soul python was not slow, and it easily avoided Moyu's sword strike. Not slow, are you? How about this then? One sword style. Ink Sun. Seeing the ice soul python's agility, Moyu unleashed his strongest move, which also had the largest attack range. Moyu coated ink plum in powerful armament haki and then slashed. A burst of black mist surged toward the ice soul python. Seeing the black mist approaching, the ice soul python instinctively felt something was wrong and hurriedly retreated, just wanting to avoid this move. However, the black mist moved extremely fast. How could the ice soul python possibly dodge it? Very quickly, the black mist engulfed the ice soul python's massive body, and the moment it was swallowed by the mist, a heart-wrenching wail erupted from the beast. Roar, roar, roar. When the black mist dispersed, only a pile of minced meat remained. The ice soul python's body had been shredded as if it had fallen into a meat grinder, leaving only an unscathed magic core. Is this the magic core of the ice soul python? Moyu picked up the ice soul python's magic core to examine it. It didn't look much different from an ordinary glass bead, but because the ice soul python had eaten the snow fruit, the core was extremely cold, like a small piece of ice. Although I knew that demonic beasts could also eat devil fruits, this is the first time I've actually seen one that has. As inhabitants of the demon plane, demonic beasts could naturally eat devil fruits. Just like humans, they could only consume one, otherwise, they would explode and die. Since demonic beasts can eat devil fruits, can weapons eat them too? For example, my ink plum. Moyu suddenly thought of this. If inanimate objects like weapons could also eat devil fruits, wouldn't that be equivalent to having two ability users? In the original One Piece series, inanimate objects like weapons could indeed eat devil fruits, though it was still unknown how they were made to consume them. However, if there were a suitable devil fruit, Mo Yu wouldn't mind letting Ink Plum eat one. Thinking of this, Mo Yu couldn't help but ask the system, by the way, system, can weapons in this world eat devil fruits? For example, my Ink Plum. Yes, the system can help Ink Plum absorb a devil fruit. After absorbing it, Ink Plum will possess the devil fruit's power. However, just like humans, it can only absorb one, otherwise, Ink Plum will break. Hee hee, great. Hearing the system's prompt, Mo Yu couldn't help but show an excited smile. It seemed he needed to hurry and find a suitable devil fruit for Ink Plum. Now that the last mission is completed, once I turn it in, I should receive 3 million in cash. Then, I can go to the devil fruit market to find one suitable for Ink Plum. Thinking of this, Mo Yu couldn't wait to return to the Adventurers Association, turn in the mission, and head to the devil fruit market to pick out a fruit. He set off on his journey back. Roar, roar, roar. Awoo. Just a few steps after Mo Yu turned around, a series of demonic beast roars suddenly came from behind him. Then, he could hear the sound of beasts running, a massive, overwhelming sound, as if an army was gathering. What's going on? Mo Yu was puzzled and hurriedly released his observation hockey to its maximum range to check what was happening in the forest. Through his observation hockey, Mo Yu saw a large number of demonic beasts gathering. The number instantly exceeded hundreds, and it was growing exponentially, quickly surpassing thousands, tens of thousands, and even hundreds of thousands. What on earth are so many demonic beasts gathering together for? Seeing so many demonic beasts, Mo Yu was immediately startled. A week ago, he had been panicked when facing tens of thousands of low-ranked demonic beasts. Even though his strength had increased significantly now, he didn't want to face a beast tide like a tidal wave again. Moreover, among those beasts, Mo Yu sensed several auras not weaker than his own. Clearly, there were a few third-ranked demonic beasts among them. With so many demonic beasts gathering together, could it be that they are about to trigger a beast tide to invade Wagwo? No, if that's the case, then for both public and private reasons, I have to go and take a look. Thinking of this, Mo Yu carefully hurried towards the direction where the demonic beasts were gathering. Although there were many demonic beasts there, and even a few third-ranked demonic beasts, Mo Yu was confident that the beast tide could not stop him. Even if Mo Yu was not their match, he could still use 100 times enhancement, shave, and moonwalk to escape. If he could report the news of the beast tide outbreak in advance and prevent a tragedy, the mayor of the ancient city would have to reward him with tens of millions. Thinking of this, Mo Yu became even more excited, and his pace involuntarily quickened. Soon, Mo Yu arrived at the place where the demonic beasts gathered. To avoid being discovered by the demonic beasts, Mo Yu specially concealed his aura and found a large tree to hide in. He saw countless demonic beasts gathered together, communicating with each other through roars, as if they were partying. No way, so many demonic beasts gathered just to have a party. Seeing this scene, a trace of doubt could not help but appear on Mo Yu's face. He did not believe these demonic beasts would not sleep in the middle of the night just to have a party here. Mo Yu continued to watch and discovered that these demonic beasts were surrounding two people. To be precise, they were two humanoid creatures. Although those two stood like humans, their skin was dark purple. One had fish-like scales on its body, two sharp horns like goat horns on its head, and a pair of bone wings on its back, just like a demon from legends. The other was a wolf-headed human with a huge body, possessing sharp claws and teeth, just like a werewolf from legends. That is, the Demon Clan. The Demon Clan is a collective term for all humanoid demonic beasts. If demonic beasts are animals in the demon plane, then the Demon Clan are the humans in the demon plane and the rulers of the demon plane. Moreover, the overall strength of the Demon Clan is stronger than that of demonic beasts. Even if they are both third rank, there is a significant gap between a third-rank demonic beast and a third-rank Demon Clan member. The Demon Clan is also divided into species. Just like humans are divided into races, there are 3 known types of Demon Clan: orcs, demons, and vampires. And these two were clearly a demon and an orc. However, the two of them did not seem very friendly, and there was a hint of hostility in their eyes as they looked at each other. At this moment, the tall orc spoke first to the demon. Hey, Lucas, are you really going to fight me for this fruit? Ha ha ha, isn't that obvious? I can feel the powerful energy inside this fruit. This devil fruit is mine, Jello, don't even think about taking it away. At this time, the demon known as Lucas also spoke, and then he glanced at the orc named Jello, and said disdainfully. Speaking of which, the devil fruit should have been obtained by us in the demon clan. You orcs are just lower class people, only slightly stronger than those demonic beasts. Hearing Lucas belittle him, the irritable Jello was furious on the spot and roared. You. What did you say? Lucas, you are courting death. Then, the demon energy inside his body erupted. Jellal's body grew a size larger, and he lunged forward, intending to beat Lucas up. Hee, don't be so irritable. Jellal. Lucas spread the bone wings on his back, floated slowly in the air, looked at Jellal, and suggested. It would be better if you and I did not start fighting now. This devil fruit has not matured yet. If we kill each other until our eyes turn red, we might ruin this fruit, which would not be good for either of us. Why don't we wait until the fruit matures, then compete based on strength? And these demonic beasts cannot help. How about it? Fine, I agree. Jellal thought about it and did not think there was anything wrong with Lucas's suggestion, so he nodded in agreement. HMPH, you simple-minded, brawny person dares to compete with me. My speed is much faster than yours. After coldly glancing at Jellal, Lucas thought to himself, both of them did not notice Mo Yu on the tree beside them, all of them staring at the apple tree in front of them. The apple tree was dozens of meters high, and there were many apples on it. A spiral pattern appeared on one of the red apples, and such spiral patterns were still increasing. Clearly, this devil fruit had not yet matured. So that's how it is. Are these two members of the demon clan waiting for that devil fruit to mature? Mo Yu thought to himself, but to be able to command so many demonic beasts, these two people are at least 4th rank demon clan members, maybe they are even higher level. If I had not hidden my aura in time, I am afraid I would have already been discovered by them. What's so strange about that devil fruit that it is worth these two 4th rank demon clan members fighting over it? It must be a powerful fruit. I guess it is either a Logia type or a zone type mythical beast form. Thinking this, Mo Yu could not help but look at the immature devil fruit. Ding. Zone type human fruit mythical beast form fallen angel form. Human fruit fallen angel form. After eating it, you can transform into a fallen angel, possessing both the power of an angel and a demon, possessing terrifying divine and demonic power. It is a powerful zone type mythical beast devil fruit. It is actually a mythical beast form of the human fruit. And it is the legendary fallen angel. No wonder these two demon clan members would gather demonic beasts here to guard this fruit. Jellal and Lucas were both demon clan members from the demon plane, and the demon energy inside the fallen angel fruit was extremely rich, making it the most suitable devil fruit for demon clan members to eat. If Lucas ate the fallen angel fruit, his strength would definitely be greatly improved. It might even allow him to directly advance to a 5th rank demon, which is much stronger than obtaining any Logia type devil fruit. I must never let them get this devil fruit, otherwise my life will not be saved. Now Mo Yu had hidden his aura, so he could at least prevent these two people from noticing him, but once one of them ate the fallen angel fruit and their strength skyrocketed, Mo Yu could not guarantee that he would not be discovered. And the current Mo Yu simply did not have the strength to fight a 5th rank demon clan member, so no matter what, Mo Yu could not let them get this fallen angel fruit. But fortunately, these two people have incompatible personalities and are hostile to each other. This is an opportunity. From the tone of Jellal and Lucas just now, it could be known that neither of them would give the fallen angel fruit to the other. Then, at the moment the fruit matures, the two will inevitably break out into a great war, and that will be a good opportunity for Mo Yu. With his current strength, although he might not be a match for the 4th rank demon clan members, it is still possible to snatch the fallen angel fruit when both of them are defeated. Therefore, Mo Yu is ready at this time, waiting for them to start fighting and then snatch the fallen angel fruit back. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Just at this moment, the ripe red apple had a large number of spiral patterns on its skin, dyeing the whole apple black. Clearly, the fruit had matured. The fallen angel fruit now was just like the poisoned apple of the queen in Snow White. However, no one wanted to eat the poisoned apple, but everyone present was jealous of this fallen angel fruit. Whether it was demonic beasts, the demon clan, or humans. The fruit is mature, this is mine. Roar, roar. Suddenly, Jellal let out an angry roar, then pushed off with all his might, leaping to the top of the tree and arriving in front of that fallen angel fruit. Although Jellal could not fly, his jumping ability was very strong. With a light leap, he could reach a height of nearly 100 meters. However, would he obtain the fallen angel fruit so easily? The answer was clearly no. Lucas, who was nearby, would not let him succeed so easily. He, Jellal, you want to get the fruit. It's not that easy. Lucas gave a light laugh, then flapped the pair of black wings behind him that symbolized his identity as a demon, flying up into the sky. His speed was extremely fast, and in an instant, he appeared in front of Jellal. Looking at Jellal before him, a flash of killing intent crossed Lucas's eyes. Jellal, today is your death day. Demon wings. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lucas's flapping black wings instantly carved out a terrifying whirlwind, Even a fourth-order member of the orc race as strong as Jello was sent crashing to the ground in the face of Lucas's hurricane attack. Seeing that Lucas was about to seize the fallen angel fruit, Jello naturally refused to be outdone. HMPH. Petty tricks. Do you think you're the only one who can use long-range attacks? Bloody claws. As he spoke, Jello swiped a claw toward Lucas. Jello's strength was immense. The surrounding airflow was affected by his sharp claws, forming blades of wind that assaulted Lucas. Those wind blades even carried a hint of blood color, looking just like a mist of blood, bearing a resemblance to Mo Yu's ink sun. SS's, SSS, SSS. The wind blades landed on Lucas's body. Even with his demon body, after being struck by the wind blades, a wound that was neither deep nor shallow appeared on his chest. HMPH, as expected, it's not so easy to kill you. Feeling the sharp pain from the wound, Lucas gave a cold snort. The physical strength of the orc race was among the best even among the demon race. Just by using their sharp claws, they could tear through the air and attack opponents from a distance. But now, the fallen angel fruit is mine. Lucas endured the pain in his chest, flew toward the top of the tree, and reached out to pluck the fallen angel fruit. You want to get the fruit? It's not that easy. I will tear you to shreds with my claws. Jello was naturally unwilling to yield the fallen angel fruit to Lucas. Taking advantage of the fact that Lucas's attention was entirely on the fallen angel fruit, he leapt in front of Lucas again. He slammed a punch toward Lucas. Boom! A loud sound, like a meteorite hitting the ground, rang out. Jello's punch landed solidly on Lucas's body. Lucas was knocked flying backward by Jello's punch. Finally, he landed heavily on the ground. Ha ha. Lucas, I told you the fallen angel fruit belongs to me. Jello laughed, then accelerated in the air to reach the top of the tree. In your dreams. With a boom, Lucas swiped his claw, but the target was not Jello. It was the apple tree in front of him that had birthed the devil fruit. Just as Jello was about to pick the fruit, the apple tree collapsed with a crash. At that moment, Lucas flapped his wings again and flew in front of Jello, engaging him in a scuffle. Jello, go to hell. The one who should die is you, Lucas. The one who will obtain the fallen angel fruit is me. The two of them roared and fought fiercely, with Lucas constantly using demon spells to attack Jello. While Jello, although lacking magic attacks, had extremely strong physical attacks and defense, his body capable of hard tanking Lucas's spells. It was just that Jello's speed was far inferior to the winged Lucas, otherwise, the fallen angel fruit would have been his long ago. No matter who it was, whenever one tried to pick the fallen angel fruit, the other would desperately try to stop them, so neither of them could obtain the fallen angel fruit. The two continued their slaughter, which made things miserable for the low-level monsters nearby. From time to time, monsters would be caught in the crossfire and turned into cold corpses. This was a boon for Mo Yu nearby, as those corpses all turned into Mo Yu's demon energy. The battle between Lucas and Jello also greatly shocked Mo Yu. Both of their strengths were very powerful. If he were to fight either one of them, he would likely be defeated. Therefore, Mo Yu was now praying that the two of them would fight to the death and both end up injured. That would be Mo Yu's best opportunity. HMPH, look at my demon claws. Lucas instantly erupted with the demon energy inside his body. His scale-covered hands suddenly grew several times larger, turning into claws like those of a demon, with pitch-black fingernails so sharp they seemed capable of tearing everything apart. And that was not all. Lucas waved his large hand, and a terrifying giant hand wrapped in black flames rapidly extended, just like the ability of the rubber fruit, striking toward Jello. Jello, let you taste my ultimate move. One claw strike and you will surely die. HMPH, stop looking down on people. Who do you think you are? Beast Blood Frenzy. Jello also used his ability. It was as if he had activated a power-up. His aura instantly expanded several times, surpassing Lucas in an instant. This was the innate ability of the orc race, Beast Blood Frenzy, which could increase one's combat power and recovery ability by several times by burning blood, but this move could not be used for a long time, otherwise one would die from blood exhaustion. Jello similarly swiped a claw toward Lucas's demon claws. Boom! In an instant, the two claws collided, emitting a loud noise. Jello easily blocked Lucas's ultimate move. He couldn't help but be overjoyed and said, "He, Lucas, so this is your claw. It's not much. Ha ha ha, Jello, you've fallen for my trap." Seeing that Jello had blocked his attack, Lucas did not get angry but laughed instead. His other hand rapidly extended, and the target was the fallen angel fruit on the apple tree. It turned out that this was Lucas's goal. First, use an ultimate move to confuse Jello, forcing Jello to use his full strength to block it. Just when Jello was feeling smug about blocking Lucas's ultimate move, Lucas had already made his move and seized that fallen angel fruit. What? Seeing the fallen angel fruit in Lucas's hand, Jello's expression was one of great shock, followed by a flicker of fear. Right now, he and Lucas could be said to be evenly matched, with neither gaining the upper hand, but once Lucas ate the fallen angel fruit, Jello would no longer be Lucas's opponent. Not only that, Lucas would kill him because of both old and new grudges. Haha, Jello, I told you, today is your death day. Looking at the fallen angel fruit in his hand, Lucas laughed, even deliberately showing it off in front of Jello. Now that the fruit was in his hand, Lucas was confident that Jello would never have a chance to snatch the fallen angel fruit from him. But just because Jello had no chance did not mean that Mo Yu, who was on the tree nearby, had no chance. Good opportunity. Conqueror's Haki. Just as Lucas was about to consume the fallen angel fruit, Mo Yu made his move. An extremely strong Conqueror's Haki was released, shooting toward Lucas like a mental shockwave. Lucas, struck by the Conqueror's Haki, paused noticeably. Although it was only for an instant, it was enough for Mo Yu to snatch the fruit. Shave. Mo Yu instantly used Shave, jumped down from the tree, and arrived at a spot less than 5 meters away from Lucas. Usually, Mo Yu could cover these 5 meters in a few steps, but now these 5 meters felt like a huge chasm. However, Mo Yu quickly thought of a solution. 100 steps flying sword, hurry up. Mo Yu threw the ink plum in his hand forward. The thrown ink plum shot toward the fallen angel fruit in Lucas's hand like an arrow released from a bowstring. PFF'd. A crisp sound rang out, and in an instant, the flying ink plum pierced through the fallen angel fruit in Lucas's hand, pinning it to the tree behind him. Who are you? All of this happened in a split second. By the time Lucas reacted, the fallen angel fruit had already vanished from his grasp. The duck that was already in his mouth had flown away. No one could accept such a blow. Consequently, a flash of monstrous killing intent crossed his eyes as he looked at Mo Yu. He knew that Mo Yu had snatched the fallen angel fruit from him, making it difficult for him to obtain it again, as Jello, standing nearby, would not let him have his way. There's no scent of a monster on you. You're a human. At this moment, Lucas also realized Mo Yu's identity. He was not a member of the demon race, but a human, which made the killing intent in his eyes even more intense. In his view, humans were nothing more than weak ants and food. To dare to snatch his things, he was simply tired of living. That's right, my name is Mo Yu. Seeing that he had successfully knocked the fallen angel fruit out of Lucas's hand, Mo Yu breathed a sigh of relief while introducing himself to Lucas. Although the fallen angel fruit had not yet fallen into his hands, Lucas could forget about snatching it back now. As long as he dared to make a move for the fallen angel fruit, both Mo Yu and the nearby Jello would stop him. Of course, the same applied to Jello and Mo Yu. Furthermore, because Mo Yu was human, it was possible that Lucas and Jello might briefly join forces to deal with Mo Yu first. However, Mo Yu was not worried. Lucas and Jello had been locked in a bloody battle for over an hour and were already exhausted. Even though Mo Yu was only a third-tier ability user, he was confident he could survive their joint assault. The only thing that worried Mo Yu slightly was the army of monsters nearby. Those hundreds of thousands of monsters were not just for show. Even if they were only low-tier demons, Mo Yu dared not clash with them head-on. Haha, a mere human brat actually dares to snatch things from our demon race. You've got some nerve. Looking at Mo Yu, if looks could kill, Mo Yu would have been killed by Lucas 10,000 times over by now. Haha, the bold get stuffed, the timid starve. How can a timid person get to eat the fat meat? It just so happens that I'm also very interested in that fruit and don't want it to fall into your hands. Is there a problem with that? Mo Yu responded coldly, while also preparing to strike. After all, his opponent was a fourth-tier demon, stronger than monsters of the same level. Even though they were exhausted, Mo Yu dared not underestimate them in the slightest. Haha, the bold get stuffed, the timid starve. Well said. But those who are bold aren't always stuffed to death, it's more likely they'll be killed. Lucas let out a strange, chuckling laugh, then looked at the silent Jello nearby and proposed, Jello, although you are an orc and I am a demon, we are both part of the demon race after all. Since this brat is a human, why don't we join forces? Let's deal with this kid first, then discuss who gets the fallen angel fruit. HMPH. Lucas, why should I agree to your terms? Because you and I are both demons, and he is a human. No matter which one of us eats the fallen angel fruit, it will be consumed by a member of the demon race, which will strengthen our demon race. But if it's eaten by this human, the humans will use it to attack our demon race. Wouldn't that make you and me sinners of the demon race? Clearly, they were just locked in a life and death struggle a moment ago, but now he was suddenly saying, we are all demons, we are family. Lucas's shamelessness had truly reached a master level. Alright then, I'll agree to your proposal for now. Let's deal with this human together, and then I'll settle the score with you. As expected of an orc, simple-minded and brawny. He was so easily duped. HMPH, want to fight? Then come on. Seeing that the two had decided to team up against him, Moyu said no more and prepared for battle. Haha, let me go first. Demon feathers. Lucas flapped his wings, flew into the sky, and spread his pair of black wings. A series of whoosh, whoosh, whoosh sounds rang out, and feathers shot toward Moyu like bullets. Those jet black feathers were faster than bullets and had greater penetrating power, too. Then let me see just how strong the demon race really is. Armament hockey. Iron body. Moyu coated his entire body in armament hockey while simultaneously using iron body. Bang, bang, bang. Crisp sounds rang out one after another. Moyu had absorbed the ox fruit, so his physique was already far superior to others, and now with the use of armament hockey and iron body, his defense was naturally incredibly powerful. Even Lucas's demon feathers could not harm Moyu. HMPH. Get out of the way, let me handle this. Beast King Fist. Seeing that Lucas's feather attack was useless, the werewolf Jello let out a loud shout and then punched toward Moyu. Armament hockey. Iron fist. Seeing Jello attacking, Moyu threw a punch back. Under normal circumstances, when using iron body, the user cannot move and can only passively take hits. But when Moyu upgraded iron body to the 3rd tier, he was able to overcome this weakness. Coupled with his 3rd tier armament hockey, Moyu was now like an Iron Man. If he had eaten the giant fruit, he might have been this world's humanoid Gundam. Boom. Moyu and Jello clashed fists, triggering a violent gust of wind. When the wind dissipated, both of them had actually taken several steps back. Such powerful strength, my hand is numb. Is this the power of the orc race? No wonder that Lucas didn't dare to fight Jello in close quarters, such powerful strength could definitely rip Lucas's wings off. How is this possible? After clashing fists with this human, I actually felt pain. How can this be? How could such a small human brat have such powerful strength? For a moment, Moyu and Jello each thought to themselves. Haha, go to hell, kid. Demon Flame. Just as Moyu and Jello were clashing, Lucas had already been gathering demon energy to launch a magical attack. A large black fireball was seen blasting toward Moyu. Because he had focused all his attention on Jello just now, Moyu hadn't noticed Lucas's sneaky move. Moreover, after the previous experience, Moyu hadn't taken Lucas's attack to heart, not expecting him to have such a move. Too fast. Armament hockey. Iron body. It was too late to dodge now, so Moyu had no choice but to take the hit head on. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Just then, a violent wind blew up, and 6 giant wings instantly appeared in front of Moyu, blocking the black fireball for him. Wings of the fallen angel. Suddenly, a beautiful, clear female voice, like the sound of nature, came from behind him. The moment Moyu heard the voice, he turned around to look, only to see a beautiful young girl standing behind him. Under the bright moonlight, Moyu saw the girl's full appearance clearly. The girl had long, dark purple hair that danced messily in the wind, and a pair of pupils as black as ink were staring intently at Moyu. The girl had a peerless face, a pointed, oval-shaped face, and skin as white and fair as jade. The girl had a hot figure, with a voluptuous bust that couldn't help but make one's imagination run wild. The girl was wearing a black dress that highlighted her figure perfectly. The hem of the skirt rested above her knees, and below that were a pair of romantic black stockings, with a pair of jet black high heels on her feet, giving the impression of a queen of the night. However, the most attractive part was naturally the 6 giant black wings behind the girl, as if an angel had descended to earth. Seeing Moyu looking at her, the girl nodded slightly, revealing a beautiful smile, and parted her cherry lips to call out. Master. You Ink Plum. Moyu called out softly with a trace of confusion. Although it was his first time meeting this beautiful young girl, for some reason, upon seeing her, Moyu felt a hint of familiarity, as if he had been with her for many years. Furthermore, the moment the beautiful girl opened her mouth, she called him, Master. Besides Ink Plum, perhaps no one else would call him, Master. But the question was, how did Ink Plum transform into a human form? Wasn't it a sword? Could it really be, as the weapon shop owner said, that it had become a spirit because it had killed too many people? It's me, Master. Seeing that Moyu recognized her and even called her name, a smile appeared on Ink Plum's face once again. Paired with that angelic face, she was incredibly beautiful. She was definitely the most beautiful girl Moyu had ever seen so far. This. Although he had long guessed that this was Ink Plum, when she personally admitted it, Mo Yu was still startled. He immediately asked, are you really Ink Plum? How did you become human? Did you really become a spirit? Become a spirit? What is that? It was you, Master, who bestowed this human form upon me. Ink Plum's voice sounded like that of a teenage girl. It was very pleasant to hear. Moreover, she was very affectionate toward Mo Yu, and as she spoke, she actually hugged him directly. Ah, this. Looking at the beauty in his arms, if it weren't for the hundreds of thousands of eyes staring at them and his own slight embarrassment, Mo Yu would have really wanted to take this great beauty right here and now. Especially since Ink Plum's beautiful eyes were staring straight at him, as if saying, come on, Master, for you, I am willing to do anything. It felt as if she were seducing Mo Yu. No, what am I thinking? Now is not the time to be thinking about such things. Besides, Ink Plum is a sword. Right, she is a sword, she is a sword. If I were to do that kind of thing to her, I might end up being left without descendants. Thinking of this, Mo Yu shook his head, casting those unspeakable thoughts to the back of his mind. Remembering that he should figure out how Ink Plum became like this, he couldn't help but ask. Wait a moment. You say it was me who turned you into this, why don't I remember it? It was you, Master, who turned me into this. I am 100% certain of that. It was you, Master, who fed me the devil fruit, isn't that right? Ink Plum lay in Mo Yu's arms like a little kitten, acting coquettishly while explaining to Mo Yu. The fallen angel fruit. Could it be that you ate the fallen angel fruit? Speaking of the devil fruit, Mo Yu only remembered that just a moment ago, in order to stop Lucas from eating the fallen angel fruit, he had used Ink Plum to snatch the fallen angel fruit from Lucas's hands. Perhaps it was because Ink Plum had pierced through the fallen angel fruit, causing the fruit's juices to fuse into Ink Plum's body, thereby having Ink Plum eat the fruit. Thinking of Ink Plum's current appearance, wasn't this exactly the image of the legendary fallen angel? And it was even the legendary six-winged fallen angel. That's right. Now I possess the power of the fallen angel and can fight side by side with you, Master. Ink Plum said with a slight smile, then took the initiative to step out of Mo Yu's arms and looked at Lucas and Jello nearby. A sword actually absorbed the fallen angel fruit. Seeing the black wings behind Ink Plum, Lucas instantly realized that the sword from earlier had absorbed the fallen angel fruit, and those wings were the mark of a fallen angel. Thinking that the fallen angel fruit that was originally supposed to fall into his hands had actually been absorbed by a sword, Lucas was furious. Roar. The fallen angel fruit is mine. Jello, on the side, also roared. Looking at Ink Plum, intense killing intent flashed in his eyes, making both Mo Yu and Ink Plum shudder. At this moment, Mo Yu couldn't be bothered to flirt with Ink Plum anymore. Once they survived the hands of these two fourth-tier demons, it wouldn't be too late to talk about romance. Ink Plum, how much strength can you exert right now? Currently, I can exert at most the strength of a six-winged fallen angel. According to this world's power classification, that's about peak third-tier strength. And Ink Plum blinked at Mo Yu and said with a playful smile. Then, she raised a small, jade-white hand, placed it in front of Mo Yu, and said with a mysterious smile, Master, watch closely, I'll show you a special skill. Armament hockey. Hardening. In an instant, her originally smooth, white arm turned as pitch black as ink. The arm, which had been soft enough to be easily broken, now became as hard as steel. This is armament hockey. You actually know armament hockey too. Mo Yu said in shock. Wasn't this pitch black substance exactly his armament hockey? How could Ink Plum also know armament hockey? That's right. Because you, Master, often use hockey to coat my body has also absorbed more or less some hockey. Currently, my hockey is at about the level of peak first tier. However, my hockey is one-time use. In other words, once it is used, it cannot be recovered unless you, Master, replenish it for me again. So that's how it is. Hearing this, Mo Yu nodded, but his eyes were still filled with astonishment. Ink Plum had eaten the fallen angel fruit and even possessed armament hockey. All of this was unexpected and completely beyond his expectations. It seems Ink Plum can also be like Enma from Pirate King, absorbing the Master's hockey. Moreover, Ink Plum is more advanced than Enma. Not only can she absorb hockey, but she can even store it. Looking at the armament hockey in Ink Plum's hand, Mo Yu couldn't help but think this. However, Mo Yu immediately grinned. The stronger Ink Plum became, the better. The stronger Ink Plum was, the stronger Mo Yu effectively was. Ink Plum, let's attack together. You go deal with that demon Lucas, and leave Jello to me. You must be careful. They are both fourth-tier demons, and you must also be careful of the surrounding monsters. Mo Yu reminded Ink Plum. After all, now that Ink Plum had turned into a human form, she was like his maid. As a master, shouldn't he care about his subordinate? Of course, more importantly, he didn't want to lose such a beautiful maid. Having a fallen angel as a maid, if that were told to others, it would surely make their jaws drop. I understand. Master, don't underestimate me. Ink Plum smiled slightly, not taking Lucas in front of her seriously at all. However, she was still very wary of the hundreds of thousands of monsters surrounding them. After all, even she was no match for hundreds of thousands of monsters. HMPH. Jello, there's no need for us to fight over it anymore, right? Let's join forces and kill them together. Good. With the fallen angel fruit stolen, both Lucas and Jello were burning with rage. Therefore, they were willing to put aside their grudges just to ensure that Mo Yu and Ink Plum would be buried here. HMPH, we aren't easy to bully either. If you want to fight, come and try. Mo Yu smiled slightly. Since Lucas and Jello were not at their peak right now, they might not necessarily lack a chance of winning. Try it then. Monsters, attack. Roar. Roar. Awoo. At Lucas's command, the surrounding monsters immediately let out crazy roars, their eyes flashing with red light, and as they looked at Mo Yu, drool couldn't help but drip from the corners of their mouths. As for Ink Plum, no monsters paid any attention to her. After all, the essence of Ink Plum was a sword, and even if she had eaten the fallen angel fruit, she would not be targeted by these monsters. HMPH. Just a bunch of beasts. You dare to flaunt your power in front of me and my master. You really don't know death when you see it. Without waiting for Mo Yu to act, Ink Plum, who served as the maid, spoke first, then spread her 6 giant wings and slowly flew into the sky. Fallen angel feather. As soon as Ink Plum finished speaking, a gale immediately arose, and one could see that a burst of black flames began to burn on Ink Plum's wings, just like the black flames of Amaterasu. Swish, swish, swish. In an instant, those countless feathers shot towards the hundreds of thousands of monsters like countless sharp arrows. With so many monsters gathered together and such a high density, Ink Plum did not need to aim deliberately. Roar. Woo. Most of these monsters could not fly and immediately became living targets. Ink Plum's feathered arrows were like a violent storm, with every single feather claiming the life of a monster. Although Ink Plum's feathered arrows were not as powerful as Lucas's, the attack range was much larger than his. After all, Ink Plum had 3 pairs of wings, while Lucas only had 1 pair. HMPH, you're just a broken sword. Even if you ate the fallen angel fruit, you are no match for me. Die. Seeing Ink Plum wantonly slaughtering the monsters, Lucas couldn't help but feel anxious, flapping his wings and flying towards Mo Yu. Demon Flame. Lucas opened his big mouth and spat out a large fireball, attacking Ink Plum. HMPH, mere child's play. Fallen Heaven Karmic Fire. Facing Lucas's fireball, Ink Plum did not show weakness, and the black flames on her 3 pairs of wings burned even more fiercely. Immediately, the black flames on her wings transformed into 6 black flame dragons, which directly swallowed the fireball and then rushed towards Lucas. Roar. Awoo. The 6 fire dragons seemed to have their own consciousness, surrounding Lucas completely. Then, they opened their pitch black, bloodthirsty maws, revealing 2 black flame dragon fangs, and bit down towards Lucas. Do you think a few mindless beasts can kill me? Little girl, you are looking down on me too much. Surrounded by the 6 fire dragons, there was no trace of panic on Lucas's face. One could see a cold light flashing on the demon wings behind him, and his hands were also emitting bursts of chill. Black ice. Suddenly, a burst of biting cold air was released from Lucas's demon claws, which he then swung towards a fire dragon beside him. Boom, boom, boom. The fire dragon and the black ice collided, and the 2 opposing forces clashed, producing a violent explosion. It was like thunder. Having dealt with 1 fire dragon, Lucas snorted coldly and said, HMPH, nothing more than this. Black ice. Lucas continued to attack, dealing with the remaining 5 fire dragons one by one. Now it's your turn, Demon Claws. At this moment, Lucas used his ultimate move again, and 2 terrifying claws burning with flames attacked Ink Plum. Hee hee. Seeing Lucas charging towards her, Ink Plum suddenly gave a mysterious smile, as if she had been waiting specifically for this moment. HMPH, have you been scared silly? You're still smiling when death is imminent. The one facing death is you. Armament Hockey. 6-winged divine sword. Ink Plum withdrew the black flames on her wings and instead wrapped them in armament hockey. Then, the 6 wings separated from Ink Plum's body, transformed into 6 great swords in the air, and shot towards Lucas at an extremely high speed. Oh no. Seeing those 6 long swords, Lucas's expression changed. Earlier, seeing Ink Plum constantly using long-range attacks, Lucas had assumed she had no melee capabilities and thought that he could finish her off if he fought in close quarters. Little did he expect that the reason Ink Plum had been using long-range attacks was precisely to wait for this moment, so she could kill Lucas in one blow. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Ah! In an instant, the 6 divine swords pierced into Lucas's body, causing him to let out a wail. He then flapped his wings and fell to the ground. Cough, cough. You all just wait, I will definitely come back for revenge. After saying this, Lucas's body turned into a puff of smoke and dissipated. Clearly, Lucas had escaped. Although Ink Plum wanted to stop him, Lucas was, after all, a 4th-tier demon, and if he wanted to leave, no one here could stop him. Boom, boom, boom. Just at this moment, a series of explosive loud noises suddenly came from nearby, and then one could see Mo Yu engaging in hand-to-hand combat with Jelal. Originally, Mo Yu was able to trade blows with Jelal by relying on his powerful armament Haki and iron body, but after Jelal used the Beast Blood Frenzy ability, his power increased several times over instantly, and Mo Yu quickly fell into a disadvantage. The sound just now was the sound of Mo Yu being knocked away by Jelal's punch. Cough, cough. I didn't expect this guy's Beast Blood Frenzy to be so powerful, to actually increase his strength so much in an instant. Mo Yu said, panting while clutching his agonizing chest. He was more skilled in swordsmanship and not good at hand-to-hand combat where fists meet flesh. Now, Mo Yu only hoped that Ink Plum could finish off Lucas quickly and come to help him. Ha ha ha, go to hell, little guy. Beast King Fist. Jello laughed loudly, then smashed a fist towards Mo Yu. Just as Mo Yu was preparing to take the punch head-on, a delicate shout suddenly sounded in his ear. Fallen Heaven Karmic Fire. Ink Plum had already noticed the injured Mo Yu. Seeing that Jello dared to injure her master, Ink Plum was naturally furious. She immediately flapped her wings, once again conjuring 6 fire dragons, and rushed towards Jello. Awoo! The fire dragons roared and slammed into Jello's body. The immense impact knocked Jello aside instantly. Ah! You two fools, I'm going to kill you. Jello was crazily burning his own blood again, and his strength, speed, defense, and recovery ability instantly increased several times over, attacking Mo Yu and Ink Plum recklessly. Facing Jello, who had entered a state of explosive power, Mo Yu and Ink Plum only had the strength to parry, but no power to fight back. Master, use me. If we combine our powers, we might just be able to defeat him. Sword of the Fallen Angel. At this time, Ink Plum looked at the rampaging Jello and suggested, then took the initiative to take Mo Yu's hand, and her whole body suddenly emitted a purple light. Ink Plum. Just as Mo Yu wanted to say something, Ink Plum had already transformed into the magic sword from before. After absorbing the fallen angel fruit, the magic sword not only became sharper, but at this moment, black flames were burning on the blade. It not only cut through iron like mud but also carried a burning attribute in its attacks. The black flames could burn continuously using the enemy's life as fuel, which was even more powerful than Amaterasu. Haha, let me see if this sword of the fallen angel can cut you down. One sword style. Half moon slash. Mo Yu wrapped the powerful armament Haki around Ink Plum and then swung a huge sword chi slash. Don't underestimate me, Beast King Fist. Having entered the Beast Blood Frenzy, Jello had clearly lost his reason and become a killing machine. Facing that huge slash, Jello didn't even think and swung a fist to meet it head-on. Boom, boom, boom. A thunderous loud noise came, and the slash collided with Jello's fist, producing a violent explosion. The impact generated by the explosion even knocked over dozens of surrounding monsters. And when the dust settled, one could see Jello's body torn apart by that huge slash, dying miserably on the spot. That's the end of part 2. Part 3 is coming soon.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and support our channel for more stories.